Tonight, we are standing at the edge of a world that does not yet exist. There are no cities, no harbors filled with ships, no marble temples shining beneath the sun, no sacred fires burning upon mountain altars. Even Olympus remains unborn. The familiar world of Greek myth lies far ahead, hidden beyond ages that have not yet unfolded. Instead, you find yourself facing a deeper mystery. You are about to enter the time before the gods ruled the heavens, the time before the Titans, the time before the sky itself. As you settle into this ancient darkness, perhaps take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy these journeys through mythology. And, if you wish, leave a comment sharing your location and local time, joining countless listeners who travel these stories beneath different stars. Now the darkness opens, and the oldest story begins. You stand within a silence so vast that even the concept of silence feels too small. There is no earth beneath your feet. No wind touches your skin. No stars hang overhead. There is neither warmth nor cold, neither distance nor direction. The ancient Greeks called this beginning chaos, yet chaos was not disorder in the modern sense. It was something far stranger, something deeper. It was the yawning gap before creation, the immeasurable emptiness from which everything would eventually emerge. When later generations gathered beside sacred fires and listened to poets recite the old stories, they imagined this first state as an endless abyss stretching beyond all understanding. No eye existed to witness it. No voice existed to describe it. And yet, the myth insists that from this unknowable emptiness, existence slowly awakened. You drift through that ancient void. Nothing surrounds you except possibility. The darkness seems almost alive, not hostile, not welcoming, simply waiting. Perhaps this is why the story begins here. The Greeks understood that every life begins in mystery. Every city begins in uncertainty. Every civilization emerges from conditions nobody fully controls. Creation itself begins with questions rather than answers. Then something changes. A presence stirs, not with thunder, not with fire, but with quiet inevitability. From the depths of chaos emerges Gaia, the earth, the great mother, the first stable thing, the first foundation. You watch as her vast form unfolds from the darkness. Mountains sleep within her. Forests remain hidden inside her future. Rivers wait patiently within her body. Entire generations of living creatures exist only as distant possibilities. Yet even now, she possesses a powerful presence. She is solidity where nothing had been solid. She is permanence within the endless void. Ancient listeners would have understood the comfort contained within her appearance. After all, every human life depends upon the earth. The soil provides food. The hills offer shelter. The land endures while generations come and go. Perhaps this is why Gaia arrives so early in the story. She represents the first place where life may eventually belong. As Gaia settles into existence, another power appears. Far below her, far beneath every future mountain, far beneath every future sea. The Greeks called this realm Tartarus, not yet the prison it would later become, not yet the dark abyss feared by gods and mortals alike. For now, it is simply another primordial reality, a depth beneath all depths, a shadow beneath all shadows. You sense its enormous distance, its unfathomable silence, its ancient patience. Even here in the beginning, creation already contains both heights and depths, both possibility and danger. The world is taking shape through balance. Then another force awakens, one often overlooked by modern audiences, yet essential to the ancient imagination. Eros, desire, attraction, the mysterious power that draws separate things together. Without Eros, creation remains isolated. Without Eros, life cannot grow. Nothing joins, nothing changes, nothing reaches beyond itself. The Greeks understood something profound through this figure. Before kingdoms, before laws, before warfare, before wisdom, there must first exist the desire to connect, the longing that moves all living things toward one another. You feel Eros flowing through the emptiness, not as a person, not yet, but as a force, a gentle current moving through existence itself, drawing creation forward. Historians continue to debate exactly how ancient audiences understood these earliest powers. Different regions preserve different traditions. Some stories place greater emphasis upon chaos. Others elevate Gaia. Another interpretation suggests that local cults may have preserved even older versions, now largely lost. The uncertainty itself adds to the mystery. These myths were never fixed forever. They evolved as generations retold them beneath changing skies. Meanwhile, creation continues. More presences emerge from the darkness. Night appears. The Greeks called her Nyx. She spreads across the vast emptiness like velvet shadow. Not frightening, not evil, simply ancient. Beside her appears Erebus, the deep darkness, the hidden gloom between worlds. Together they create a realm where mystery itself seems to breathe. Yet even night carries unexpected possibilities, for from night will come dreams, and sleep, and destiny, and many forces that shape mortal lives. The ancient Greeks rarely divided existence into simple categories of good and evil. Instead, they recognized complexity. Light needs darkness. Life needs death. Joy exists beside sorrow. The earliest myths reflect this understanding. Creation unfolds through contrasts, not through perfection. As you travel deeper into this first age, Gaia continues expanding. Her surface begins to take shape. You glimpse hints of future mountains rising like shadows beneath moonless skies. Future valleys wait patiently. Future coastlines sleep beneath the waves of possibility. Nothing has fully formed. Yet everything is beginning. And Gaia is not alone, for within her grows a longing, a desire that echoes through creation. The desire for companionship, the desire to create, the desire to bring forth new life. The force of Eros continues its quiet work. Ancient storytellers often return to this theme. Nothing remains isolated forever. Every power seeks connection. Every generation gives rise to another. The world moves forward through relationships. Yet hidden within that truth lies another possibility. If every generation creates a new generation, what happens when children become stronger than their parents? What happens when creation produces powers beyond control? The question hangs unanswered within the darkness. No one yet knows. Not Gaia, not night, not even fate itself, perhaps. Still, an omen seems to stir far beyond sight. A subtle feeling, a faint warning carried through the newborn cosmos. Something magnificent is coming. Something beautiful. Something dangerous. The first age has only begun. The Titans have not yet been born. The heavens have not yet risen above the earth. Yet already the seeds of future conflict rest within creation, like roots hidden beneath fertile soil, like storms sleeping beyond a distant horizon, like prophecies waiting for their moment. You continue forward through the vast twilight of beginnings, and ahead beyond the darkness, Gaia prepares to dream of a companion who will change the destiny of the cosmos forever. You move onward through the young emptiness, and Gaia grows more vivid beneath you. She is no longer only a presence. She is becoming a world. You feel the first sense of ground forming under your imagined feet. It is not yet soil as mortals will know it. It is deeper, older, heavier, like the first promise of stone. Across her vast body, hidden ridges begin to rise. They are the sleeping bones of mountains. Far below them, hollows gather in silence, waiting for rivers that have not yet been born. There are no olive groves yet, no shepherd paths, no white villages clinging to hillsides. But the shape of those future places already seems to rest inside her. The ancient Greeks saw Gaia not as a distant idea, but as a living mother. Every field, every cave, every spring, every cliff was part of her being. When farmers pressed seeds into dark earth, they were touching her patience. When travelers climbed a mountain path at dawn, they were walking upon her ancient body. When sacrifices burned at rural shrines, the smoke rose from land that was sacred before temples existed. You sense that sacredness now. It surrounds you slowly. It does not demand worship. It simply endures. Gaia lies beneath all things, and yet she is not still. Something moves inside her. A dream begins. At first, the dream has no images, only feeling, a soft pull through the darkness, a wish for shape, a longing for another presence above her, beside her, around her. In the old stories, creation is rarely lonely for long. Life reaches outward. The world searches for relation. Even the earth, vast and complete, desires something beyond herself. Perhaps this is what the Greeks understood so well. Nothing alive is entirely self-contained. The vine needs the tree. The sailor needs the star. The worshipper needs the altar. The child needs the mother. And Gaia, first foundation of the world, begins to dream of the sky. Before that sky appears, other forms arise from her. You watch as mountains lift slowly from her body. They rise like great sleeping animals through mist that has no source. Their peaks are dark at first, then pale, then almost silver, as though that they remember moonlight before the moon exists. These mountains will one day hold sanctuaries. Priests will climb their slopes. Goatherds will hear echoes in their ravines. Storm clouds will gather around their summits, and mortals will imagine divine footsteps hidden in thunder. But now they are silent, fresh from Gaia, sacred and unnamed. Then the sea begins to stir. Pontus, the deep sea, emerges from Gaia's being. You hear it before you see it. A low movement, a breath, a distant turning. Then waves begin to form along newborn shores, striking against dark rock with a rhythm older than language. The scent of salt enters creation. Cool spray touches the air. The world now has edges. Land meets water. Stillness meets motion. For ancient Greeks, the sea was both road and danger. It carried traders, warriors, colonists, and stories. It connected islands and separated families. It gave fish storms, shipwrecks, and songs. By bringing forth Pontus, Gaia gives the world mystery. No mortal looking across the Aegean could ever forget that beyond every bright harbor lay uncertainty. And uncertainty is where myth breathes most deeply. Yet Gaia's dream continues. She senses that mountains and sea are not enough. She has depth. She has surface. She has boundaries. But she does not yet have an answering height. Above her remains the old openness. The gap of chaos still stretches wide. And from within, Gaia rises the desire for someone who can cover her in stars. Someone vast enough to match her. Someone intimate enough to touch every part of her. Here, the myth becomes tender. It is easy to think only of later violence. The overthrow of fathers. The swallowed children. The wars beneath heaven. But in this early moment before fear hardens into cruelty, creation carries a gentler note. Gaia longs. The earth dreams upward. Some ancient traditions say she brought forth Uranus herself, equal to her, so that he might cover her completely. Other traditions shape the beginning differently, and scholars continue to debate how old these variations may be. Perhaps the uncertainty matters. Perhaps the Greeks allowed several memories of creation to live beside one another like neighboring shrines on the same hillside. You stand within that uncertainty. You feel the world holding its breath. Then, during Gaia's dream, an omen appears. It is not spoken aloud. No prophet stands beneath a temple roof. No priestess trembles over sacred vapors. There are no mortals yet to listen. The omen comes as a pressure in the newborn world. A strange heaviness beneath the wonder. Gaia dreams of children. Many children. Powerful children. Radiant children. Children who will shake the foundations of existence. In the dream, some stand like kings. Some carry light. Some remember all things. Some whisper laws older than thrones. Some hold the sea in their blood. And one child remains in shadow, smaller than the others at first. Quieter, watching, waiting. No one in the dream names him yet. But destiny already bends toward him. Cronus. You do not see his face clearly. Only the curve of a sickle beneath a starless sky. Only the sense of a choice that will divide the ages. Gaia stirs in her sleep. The dream troubles her. For creation brings joy, but it also brings risk. To give birth is to release the future beyond control. Every mother in every age understands this in some quiet way. The ancient Greeks placed that truth at the beginning of the cosmos. They knew families could become kingdoms. Kingdoms could become prisons. Love could turn to fear, and fear could become violence. Still, Gaia does not turn away from creation. She accepts the dream. She accepts longing. She accepts the unknown. Around you, the young world grows calmer again. Mountains rest beneath deep mist. The sea breathes along dark shores. The emptiness above waits to become heaven. Somewhere hidden inside Gaia's desire, the next great power prepares to rise. And when Uranus comes, he will bring beauty. He will bring stars. He will bring the first divine household. But he will also bring the fear that begins the first sorrow of the world. The dream fades slowly, like mist dissolving above a quiet shoreline. Yet its echoes remain. You feel them lingering across the young world. The mountains stand watch beneath silent darkness. The sea moves with patient rhythm. Gaia rests beneath it all, vast and fertile, carrying possibilities that have not yet revealed their names. Then the heavens arrive, not suddenly, not with thunder, not with blazing light. The coming of Uranus feels more like a curtain slowly unfolding across eternity. At first, you notice a faint glow spreading through the endless darkness above Gaia. Tiny points of silver appear, one by one, then hundreds, then countless thousands. Stars, the first stars, ancient and beautiful. They stretch across the newborn heavens like jewels scattered upon dark velvet. For the first time, the cosmos possesses both below and above. Earth and sky, foundation and shelter, mother and companion. The Greeks called him Uranus, the sky. Yet Uranus was more than empty air. He was the great star-filled vault arching above creation. Every night, generations of Greeks would gaze upward and see his presence. Farmers resting after harvest, sailors navigating distant waters, priests tending sacred fires, children listening to old stories beside flickering lamps. All looked toward the same heavens. All stood beneath Uranus. You now stand there as well. His arrival transforms the world. The stars shine upon mountain peaks. Silver reflections dance across dark waters. The newborn sea glimmers softly beneath celestial light. For a moment, everything feels balanced, complete. Gaia gazes upward. Uranus gazes downward. Their meeting seems destined, perhaps inevitable. Eros continues his quiet work. The force that first stirred creation now draws earth and sky together. Ancient poets often describe this union with remarkable tenderness. Uranus stretches over Gaia completely. He embraces every mountain, every valley, every future riverbed, every hidden cave. No corner of the earth lies beyond his reach. The world becomes whole. As you witness their union, the night feels peaceful, almost sacred. The scent of salt drifts from distant shores. Cool air moves gently across stone. The stars seem brighter than before. You can almost imagine the future hidden within them. Entire civilizations waiting beyond time. Temples yet unbuilt. Songs yet unsung. Heroes yet unborn. The Greeks often saw divine relationships reflected in the natural world around them. Earth and sky appeared inseparable. Rain descended from above to nourish fields below. Sunlight warmed the land. Storm clouds crossed mountain ranges. The union of Gaia and Uranus offered a mythic explanation for these experiences. Nature itself became a divine relationship, a cosmic marriage visible every day. And from that marriage came children, many children. The world was no longer empty. Life multiplied. Power multiplied. Destiny multiplied. At first, the births brought joy. Gaia welcomed each child. Uranus looked upon them with wonder. The cosmos expanded through family. The first divine household had begun. Yet, even now, before conflict appears openly, a subtle tension moves beneath the surface. The dream from Gaia's sleep has not been forgotten. The shadow remains. The hidden warning waits. For creation is unpredictable. Children grow. Children change. Children inherit power. And power often awakens fear. Still, that future has not arrived. For now the heavens celebrate. You wander beneath the starry vault as ages pass like slow-moving clouds. The first family grows larger. The universe feels young, hopeful, filled with possibilities. Ancient storytellers sometimes imagine this period as a time when divine energies flowed freely through creation. The boundaries between powers remained fluid. Everything seemed capable of becoming something greater. Historians continue to debate how much of these early myths reflects older traditions that existed before classical Greek civilization emerged. Some researchers believe memories from Bronze Age cultures survived within these stories. Others suggest influences stretching even farther into the distant past. Whatever their origins, the myths preserve something universal. A fascination with beginnings, a longing to understand where everything came from, and perhaps why. As Uranus watches his growing family, another sign appears. It comes on a night unlike any before. The stars seem unusually bright. The sea becomes strangely still. Even the winds fall silent. Across the heavens, a faint pattern emerges among the constellations. No mortal exists yet to interpret it. No priest studies its meaning. Yet the sign feels deliberate, a message written in light, a warning hidden within beauty. The stars form the shape of a circle broken by a single, dark gap. Briefly, only briefly. Then the pattern disappears. The heavens return to normal, but something has changed. Uranus notices, though he says nothing. A feeling settles deep within him, a discomfort he cannot fully explain. The ancient Greeks paid close attention to omens, birds, dreams, storms, unusual celestial events. Such signs suggested that invisible forces were moving beneath visible reality. This first omen belongs to that tradition. The cosmos itself seems to whisper that destiny has already begun its work. Yet destiny rarely explains itself. Questions remain unanswered. Was the sign a warning? A prophecy? A reflection of future events? Ancient traditions offer different possibilities. No single interpretation survives completely. The uncertainty deepens the mystery, and mystery remains essential to myth. For if every answer were known, the story would lose its power. As ages continue unfolding, Gaia and Uranus draw closer together. Their union strengthens. Their family expands. The world grows richer, more complex, more alive. The stars wheel slowly overhead. Moonless nights shimmer with celestial fire. Sea winds cross dark waters. Mountain peaks rise proudly beneath heaven's embrace. Everything appears stable. Everything appears secure. Yet beneath that tranquility, the first seeds of fear are taking root. Uranus begins wondering about the future, about his children, about what they may become. The thought arrives quietly, almost harmlessly, a passing concern. But some fears once born never truly disappear. And far below the beauty of the star-filled sky, destiny waits patiently, watching, listening, preparing the next chapter of creation. Soon the children of earth and sky will emerge fully into the story. The Titans, the mighty generation whose names will echo through all of Greek mythology. And with their birth, the age of innocence will slowly begin to fade. The stars continue their slow journey across the heavens. Beneath them, the young world grows fuller with every passing age. The sea breathes against untouched shores. Mountain shadows stretch across valleys that have never known footsteps. Cool winds wander through empty landscapes. Creation is still young, yet it no longer feels alone. For the children of Gaia and Uranus are beginning to appear. You find yourself standing within a vast dawn, unlike any future dawn. The sky glows softly above silver mountain peaks. Mist drifts through deep ravines. The scent of salt and stone lingers in the air. And across the newborn world, powerful presences awaken. These are the Titans, the first great generation of divine rulers, the beings who will shape the earliest age of the cosmos. Ancient Greeks remembered them with a mixture of awe and distance. They were not quite like the Olympian gods who would later receive sacrifices in countless temples. The Titans belonged to an older world, a deeper world, a world closer to creation itself. One by one they emerge, each carrying a distinct nature, each revealing a different aspect of existence. Oceanus appears first among many traditions, vast and calm. His presence feels like the endless waters surrounding the edges of the world. You sense immense patience within him. Unlike future rulers who seek conflict, Oceanus seems content to flow steadily through eternity. Beside him comes Tethys, gentle and fertile. She carries the promise of rivers, springs, and life-giving waters. Together, they represent nourishment and continuity, the quiet persistence that allows life to flourish. Then comes Hyperion, tall and radiant. Even before light fully belongs to the world, he seems connected to brightness. Ancient listeners often associated him with observation and heavenly order. His gaze feels far-reaching, almost prophetic. Beside Hyperion stands Theia, beautiful and luminous. Her presence carries the brilliance later reflected in gold, silver, and precious gems. When sunlight eventually touches treasures hidden beneath the earth, the Greeks sometimes imagine traces of Theia lingering there. Next comes Cronus, thoughtful and distant. He seems drawn toward mysteries beyond immediate sight, toward questions hidden among stars and prophecies. Phoebe follows him, calm and wise, an ancient power associated with insight and sacred knowledge. Later generations would remember her connection to prophecy itself. Even now she appears to listen to voices carried from far beyond the horizon of time. Cronus arrives quietly, less celebrated in surviving myths, yet no less powerful. Like many ancient figures, parts of his story have faded into shadow. Historians continue to debate why certain titans remained prominent, while others slowly disappeared from popular memory. Perhaps local traditions, once preserved stories now lost forever. Perhaps entire cycles of myth vanished with forgotten generations. The mystery remains. Then comes mnemosyne, memory. As soon as she appears, something changes within creation. Events no longer simply happen. They can now be remembered, preserved, passed forward. This may seem subtle, yet it is one of the most important moments in the myth. Without memory, there can be no history. Without memory, no wisdom survives. Without memory, every generation begins again in darkness. The Greeks understood this deeply. They lived within a culture shaped by storytellers, poets, and oral traditions. Memory was sacred. And so, mnemosyne becomes sacred as well. Soon after comes Themis, order, justice, divine balance. She carries neither sword nor threat, yet her presence feels immensely powerful. Themis represents the idea that existence follows patterns greater than individual desire. Kings may rule, warriors may conquer, but certain laws exist beyond personal ambition. Ancient audiences found comfort in that belief. Even chaos must eventually answer to order. The Titan line continues. Iapetus emerges, strong and determined. There is something restless within him, something that hints at future struggles. His descendants will become deeply connected to the fate of humanity. Though that chapter lies far ahead, its shadow already stretches across the horizon. Then comes Rhea, warm and nurturing. Her presence feels immediately different. Where some titans embody forces or principles, Rhea radiates emotional depth. You sense compassion within her, patience, love, yet also resilience, the ability to endure hardship without surrendering kindness. Future generations would remember her with affection, a motherly figure standing against fear itself. And finally comes Cronus, the youngest among the 12 great titans. At first glance, nothing about him appears threatening. He stands tall and capable, intelligent, quiet, observant. Yet something within him remains difficult to read. While others reveal their nature openly, Cronus seems to keep part of himself hidden. You remember Gaia's dream, the shadowed figure, the silent watcher, the curve of a sickle beneath a dark sky. The memory passes like a distant wind. No one else appears to notice. The Titans gather beneath Uranus and Gaia. The first divine family now stands complete. Together, they are magnificent. The mountains seem smaller beside them. The seas calmer. Even the stars appear to shine more brightly. For a time, harmony reigns. The Titans explore the world. Oceanus follows endless waters. Hyperion studies the heavens. Mnemosyne gathers the first memories. Themis contemplates order hidden beneath creation. Rhea wanders valleys and mountain slopes, delighting in the beauty of the young earth. And Cronus watches, always watching, not suspiciously, not yet, simply attentively, as though he senses possibilities others overlook. The Greeks often viewed large families through complex lenses. Family brought strength. Family created alliances. Family ensured continuity. But family also created rivalry, inheritance, competition, the question of succession. Who leads? Who follows? Who receives power? Such concerns shaped households, cities, and kingdoms throughout Greek history. The Titans embody these tensions on a cosmic scale. One evening, another sign appears. The heavens darken unexpectedly, not through storm, not through cloud. The stars themselves seem to dim. Across the sky, a faint red glow briefly surrounds the horizon. The sea becomes unusually still. Even Oceanus pauses. The silence feels unnatural. Then a single star falls. It streaks across the heavens before vanishing beyond distant mountains. The moment lasts only seconds. Yet every Titan notices. No explanation follows. No voice interprets the sign. Ancient traditions preserve no single answer. Was it merely a celestial wonder, or a warning from fate? The question remains unresolved. And perhaps that is fitting, for destiny rarely announces itself clearly. It prefers hints, whispers, Small disturbances that seem insignificant until much later. The star disappears. The night returns. The Titans resume their lives. Yet somewhere deep within the young cosmos, unseen threads continue tightening. The family appears complete. The age appears secure. But creation is not finished. Far stranger children still wait within Gaia. Children whose appearance will awaken fear within Uranus. Children whose suffering will plant the first great wound in the world. And when that wound opens, the peace of the first age will begin to fracture. The fallen star fades from memory, or at least it seems to. The Titans return to their wandering paths. Oceanus follows the great encircling waters. Mnemosyne gathers moments like pearls upon an invisible thread. Themis listens to patterns hidden beneath events. Rhea delights in valleys filled with wild beauty, and Cronus continues watching the world with thoughtful eyes. Above them all, Uranus stretches across the heavens. His stars glitter over mountains and newborn seas. The world appears peaceful, balanced, blessed. Yet creation has not finished speaking. Far beneath the familiar rhythms of the Titan household, Gaia still carries hidden possibilities. The Earth Mother remains fertile beyond imagination. Her depths contain mysteries untouched even by her first children. And soon those mysteries emerge. You find yourself beside a rugged coastline. Dark waves strike ancient cliffs. Sea winds carry the scent of salt and stone. Above, stars shimmer across the immense body of Uranus. Below, the earth trembles softly. At first, the movement feels almost gentle, a distant stirring. Then it grows stronger. The ground itself seems to breathe. Gaia is giving birth again. The Titans gather, curious, perhaps excited. After all, every previous birth has expanded the beauty and wonder of creation. Why should this be different? Yet an unease spreads through the air. The memory of the fallen star returns, the strange dimming of the heavens, the dream that once troubled Gaia. The signs linger at the edge of awareness. Then the first child appears. He is enormous, powerful beyond measure. At the center of his forehead burns a single eye, one eye, round and brilliant, filled with primal force. The Greeks called these beings the Cyclopes. Ancient audiences often imagined them as master craftsmen, creators of wonders, workers of divine fire. Yet here at the beginning, they appear almost elemental, raw powers of creation given form. The first Cyclops emerges, then another, then a third. Each carries the same blazing eye. Each radiates immense strength. You watch the Titans react. Some stare in wonder. Others remain silent. The newcomers seem strange, certainly. Yet they are also magnificent. Gaia gazes upon them with a mother's pride, for she sees what they may become. Potential, power, possibility. But Uranus does not share her reaction. Something shifts within him. A shadow crosses his thoughts. The discomfort that first appeared after the celestial omen returns. Stronger now. The Cyclops are not like the Titans. They are unfamiliar, difficult to understand. And fear often grows in the presence of what feels unfamiliar. Ancient Greeks understood this deeply. Many myths explore the danger of rejecting what appears strange, the fear of difference, the fear of change, the fear of forces that cannot be controlled. These themes begin here, yet Gaia's labor is not complete. The earth trembles once more. The sea grows restless. Distant mountains seem to groan beneath hidden pressure. And then another generation emerges. Far stranger than the Cyclops, far more terrifying to behold. The hundred-handed ones, the Hecatoncheires. Their very appearance seems impossible. Each possesses 50 heads. Each bears 100 mighty arms. Their strength defies imagination. When they move, the ground shakes. When they breathe, winds seem to stir around them. Even the Titans stare in astonishment. The newcomers are not evil, not cruel, not violent. They have done nothing wrong. They simply exist. Yet their appearance challenges every expectation. And Uranus recoils. You feel the moment happen, the precise instant when fear becomes judgment. The sky god looks upon these children and sees not possibility, not wonder, not family. He sees threat. Perhaps he fears their power. Perhaps he fears their difference. Perhaps he fears a future he cannot predict. Ancient storytellers offer no single explanation. Historians continue to debate the symbolic meaning of these figures. Some researchers believe they represent natural forces too immense to control. Others suggest memories of older divine beings absorbed into later myths. Another interpretation survives as well. The Cyclopes and hundred-handed ones may symbolize aspects of creation that civilization struggles to accept. The unfamiliar, the chaotic, the overwhelming. Whatever the meaning, Uranus makes a choice. A terrible choice, one that will alter the fate of the cosmos. Gaia senses his growing fear. She tries to reassure him. At least that is how some traditions imagine the scene. These are your children, your family, your blood. Yet fear rarely listens to reason. Fear seeks certainty, and certainty often demands exclusion. The stars above seem colder now. The sea winds sharper. Even the night feels less welcoming. The first cracks appear within the divine household. You remember Themis, her quiet embodiment of order. You remember the mysterious star falling from heaven. You remember Gaia's troubling dream. Small signs scattered through earlier ages. Now they begin connecting, like pieces of a pattern slowly revealed. One evening, as the heavens darken toward night, another omen appears. A strange sound echoes through the world. Not thunder, not wind, something deeper, a distant rumbling rising from beneath the earth. The Titans hear it. The Cyclopes hear it. Even Uranus hears it. The sound resembles a heartbeat. Slow, ancient, steady, as though the world itself is warning its inhabitants. Gaia listens carefully. The rumbling continues for several moments, then fades. No explanation follows. No prophecy is spoken. The mystery remains unresolved. But unease settles over creation. The Greeks often believed that the earth communicated through signs, earthquakes, springs, sacred caves, unusual sounds. Nature itself could become a messenger. Perhaps that is what happens here. Or perhaps another interpretation waits beyond reach. No one can know with certainty. The Titans disperse beneath the stars. Yet the atmosphere has changed. A quiet tension now lingers between Gaia and Uranus. The Earth Mother continues loving all her children equally. The Sky Father struggles with growing dread, and the children themselves remain unaware of what is coming. The Cyclopes gaze upward with their single brilliant eyes. The hundred-handed ones wander the young world in innocent wonder. They do not yet understand how deeply they are feared. They do not know that their father has already begun imagining a solution. A cruel solution, one born not from necessity, but from anxiety. The age of harmony is ending, slowly, almost imperceptibly, yet ending all the same. For once fear enters a family, it rarely remains still. It grows, it spreads, and beneath the stars of Uranus, that growth has already begun. The heartbeat beneath the earth has faded, yet Gaia remembers it. She remembers the way the deep ground trembled beneath her own body. She remembers the silence that followed. She remembers Uranus looking away from their strange and powerful children. Now you stand inside the first sorrow of creation. The world remains beautiful. Stars still drift across the back of heaven. The sea still moves against black stone shores. Mountain mist still gathers in valleys before dawn. But beauty no longer feels innocent. Something has entered the cosmos that cannot easily be removed. Fear. It begins quietly within Uranus. At first, perhaps he tells himself he is only being watchful. A father must consider danger. A ruler must guard order. A sky must remain wide and unbroken. Yet beneath these thoughts, a darker feeling grows. The Cyclopes trouble him. Their single eyes seem too bright. Their strength seems too raw. Their silence seems too difficult to read. And the hundred-handed ones disturb him even more. Their many arms suggest a power no throne could safely contain. Their many faces seem to look in all directions at once. How could any ruler feel secure beside such children? Ancient traditions do not describe Uranus as a careful judge. They remember him as a father who rejected what he feared. This matters, for the Greeks often used divine stories to reflect human households and royal courts. A father who clings too tightly to control may turn his own home into a prison. A king who fears succession may destroy the very future he claims to protect. One night beneath a sky sharp with stars, Uranus acts. No thunder announces his decision. No council is called. No sacred fire bears witness. He descends upon Gaia and forces the Cyclopes and hundred-handed ones down into the hidden depths of the earth. You feel the violence of it, not as battle, as confinement. The children vanish from the open world. Their voices disappear beneath stone. Their strength is buried inside their mother. And Gaia cries out without sound. For where can the Earth Mother turn when the prison is her own body? The young world trembles. Cliffs crack. Caves deepen. Hot winds rise from fissures in the ground. Some later Greeks may have heard echoes of such myths in the real earth around them. In volcanic islands, steaming cracks and earthquakes, sacred stories seem to breathe beneath ordinary landscape. Surviving evidence from shrines and caves suggests that Greeks often felt the underworld was close, not abstract, not distant. It pressed upward through springs, caverns, and trembling ground. Now you understand why. The divine children are hidden below, and their suffering becomes part of the earth itself. Gaia endures it, but endurance is not acceptance. She feels each imprisoned movement, each muffled cry, each desperate reach of 100 arms against darkness. The Cyclopes, once bright-eyed with possibility, now see only stone. The hundred-handed ones, made for open strength, are folded into silence. This is the first great injustice of the cosmos. Themis feels it too. Somewhere among the Titans, the goddess of order grows still. She does not yet speak. But order has been violated. Balance has been broken. And broken balance always seeks repair. Uranus believes he has solved his fear. Above the heavens remain clear. Stars shine in their usual courses. The sea returns to rhythm. The mountains settle. To an anxious ruler, silence can feel like success. But beneath that silence, grief gathers. You walk now through the deep places of Gaia, not with physical steps, more like a dream journey through the inner chambers of the earth. The walls around you are dark and warm. Stone presses close. Moisture glimmers in hidden cracks. You hear distant echoes, a low breath, a faint groan, a hand striking rock far away. The smell is mineral and ancient, iron, clay, smoke not yet born from fire. Here, Gaia's sorrow thickens into resolve. She is mother. She is earth. She is patient, but she is not powerless. In Greek myth, motherhood often carries more than tenderness. It carries fierce memory. It remembers wrongs that kings hope to bury. It protects hidden futures. It waits until the moment ripens. Gaia begins to think. Above her, Uranus still covers the world completely. He presses close each night. His presence, once comforting, now feels suffocating. The embrace of sky and earth has become captivity. This is the transformation of love into domination. Ancient listeners would have recognized the tragedy. What began as union has become control. What began as creation has become fear, and fear has wounded the mother of all things. Then comes a dream, not Gaia's first dream of creation, a darker dream. She sees a stone chamber beneath a mountain. Inside it, her hidden children wait. Their eyes and arms move in darkness. Then she sees a blade, curved, hard, shining with a cold light. It is not yet made. Yet it already exists in possibility. A sickle. The same curve you glimpsed in Gaia's earlier dream. The same sign that hovered around the unnamed Cronus. Now the image returns. Clearer, sharper, more terrible. In the dream, the sickle cuts darkness from sky. It opens a space where breath may return. But blood follows it. And from that blood, future beings rise. Some beautiful, some vengeful, some impossible to name. Gaia wakes into grief. The prophecy has no voice. Yet she understands its meaning. A child must answer the father. A wound must answer a wound. Still one mystery remains. Which child will dare? The Titans are mighty, but most are cautious. Oceanus flows around conflict. Hyperion watches from radiant distance. Themis honors order but hesitates before violence. Rhea feels compassion, yet her path lies ahead. Only Cronus remains difficult to read. The quiet sun, the watcher. The one shadowed in the first dream. You sense destiny turning toward him. Not rushing, never rushing. Fate in these old stories moves like deep water. Slow, heavy, unavoidable. Gaia rises from her sorrow and begins preparing the next age. Far within her body, hidden from Uranus, she searches for a substance strong enough to challenge heaven. Stone remembers. Metal sleeps. Dark ore waits inside mountain roots. She will draw from her own depths. She will shape a weapon from the pain buried within her. Above, Uranus still believes the world is secure. But below, in the warm darkness of Earth, the first rebellion has already begun. Far beneath mountains that have never known human footsteps, Gaia begins her work. The Earth Mother does not move with haste. She has existed since the first moments of creation. She understands patience better than any living thing. Roots do not force themselves upward in a day. Mountains do not rise in an afternoon. The sea does not carve cliffs in a single tide. True change comes slowly, yet once it begins, it can transform the world. You feel that transformation gathering now. Deep within Gaia's vast body, hidden chambers awaken. Ancient caverns stretch beneath the earth like silent cathedrals. Stone glimmers faintly in darkness. Underground rivers whisper through narrow passages. The air feels warm, heavy, ancient. Here, untouched by sunlight, Gaia searches for something capable of challenging heaven itself. Not a sword, not a spear, something older, something symbolic. The Greeks often gave special meaning to tools connected with harvest and growth. The same instrument that gathers grain can also cut it down. Creation and destruction share the same edge. Perhaps that is why Gaia chooses a sickle. She draws forth a substance unlike ordinary stone. The ancient poets called it adamant, a mysterious material harder than anything else in existence. Bright, unbreakable, cold as destiny. Historians continue to debate exactly how ancient audiences imagined adamant. Some may have envisioned a divine metal. Others perhaps imagined a supernatural stone. Its precise nature remains uncertain, yet its symbolism is clear. The weapon must embody inevitability, the force required to alter the order of the cosmos. Slowly, Gaia shapes the blade. You watch as sparks of pale light flicker across the darkness. The curved edge gleams, sharp enough to divide ages, sharp enough to wound the sky. When the work is complete, the sickle rests before her, silent, waiting. And now comes the harder task, choosing who will wield it. Gaia gathers her Titan children, not openly, not beneath the gaze of Uranus. This meeting takes place in secret, far from the stars, far from the sea winds, far from the watchful heavens. You stand within a hidden cavern illuminated by a strange golden glow. The walls shimmer with veins of crystal. Water drips slowly from the ceiling. The scent of damp stone fills the air. One by one, the Titans arrive. Oceanus comes first, calm and thoughtful. Then Hyperion, carrying quiet radiance. Theia, Cous, Phoebe, Cronus, Mnemosyne, Themis, Iapetus, Rhea, and finally Cronus. The youngest, the last to enter. The cavern grows still. Gaia reveals the suffering of the imprisoned children. The Cyclopes buried in darkness. The 100-handed ones trapped within the earth. She speaks of pain, of injustice, of fear ruling where love should guide. The Titans listen. Some lower their eyes. Others stare into the shadows. The grief of their mother weighs heavily upon them. Then Gaia presents the sickle. Its curved blade catches the cavern light. For a moment, silence deepens. Everyone understands what is being asked. This is not merely a complaint, not merely a plea. It is a call for rebellion, a challenge against Uranus himself, against the ruler of heaven, against their father. The air seems colder, even underground. Ancient Greeks often viewed family loyalty as sacred, yet they also recognized that authority could become corrupt. Their myths repeatedly ask difficult questions. What happens when rulers abuse power? What happens when fathers become tyrants? When does obedience become complicity? These questions echo through the cavern. Gaia asks which of her children will help her. No one answers immediately. Oceanus remains silent. Conflict does not suit his nature. Hyperion hesitates. Theia looks troubled. Phoebe studies the blade thoughtfully. Mnemosyne remembers every word. Themis feels the imbalance, but fears the cost. Rhea's heart aches for the imprisoned children, yet she recoils from violence. One by one, uncertainty spreads through the gathering. The task feels impossible. Uranus is immense. He is the heavens themselves. Who can stand against the sky? The silence grows longer. You begin to understand how fear operates, not only through cruelty, but through paralysis. Even those who recognize injustice often hesitate before confronting it. Perhaps the ancient storytellers understood this well. Perhaps they had seen it in cities, courts, and households throughout their own lives. Then someone speaks. Cronus, the youngest Titan, steps forward. His voice remains calm, measured, almost gentle. Yet beneath it lies iron. He does not speak recklessly. He does not boast. Instead, he asks questions. Questions about destiny. Questions about justice. Questions about the future. Why should fear rule creation? Why should innocent children remain imprisoned? Why should the cosmos accept suffering as its foundation? The cavern listens. Gaia listens. And as Cronus speaks, you sense something awakening within him. Not merely courage. Ambition. The two often travel together. This is one reason the myths remain so fascinating. Their heroes and villains are rarely simple. Cronus is not motivated by a single emotion. He wishes to help his mother. He feels outrage toward Uranus, yet he also sees opportunity. Power, a throne, a different future. All these motives exist side by side. The Greeks understood that human hearts are complicated. Divine hearts are no different. Gaia offers him the sickle. The blade gleams between them. For a moment, Cronus hesitates. You remember the omen of the fallen star, the dream of the curved blade, the mysterious shadow that appeared among Gaia's sleeping visions. All those signs seem to converge here. This moment, this choice. Slowly, Cronus takes the weapon. The cavern darkens, not literally, emotionally. The future feels heavier, more uncertain. The Titans watch in silence. Some feel hope, some feel fear, some perhaps feel both. Then another sign appears. A strange wind rushes through the underground chambers. No opening exists. No passage leads to the surface. Yet the wind arrives anyway. Cold, sudden, whispering. It circles the cavern once, twice, then vanishes. No one can explain it. Ancient audiences would have recognized such moments immediately. A divine sign, an omen, a reminder that fate watches closely. But what does the omen mean? Does it bless the rebellion? Warn against it? Foretell victory? Foretell tragedy? Even now, scholars remain divided about how these signs were intended to function within the oldest myths. Perhaps ambiguity was always the point. The future remains hidden. Only the path forward exists. Cronus tightens his grip on the sickle. The blade feels heavier than stone, heavier than metal. It carries responsibility, consequences, a burden that cannot be set aside. Above them, Uranus still shines across the heavens, unaware, confident, certain of his power. Yet, deep beneath the earth, a decision has been made. The youngest Titan has accepted destiny's invitation. Soon the stars themselves will witness the fall of heaven. And when that night arrives, the world will never be the same again. The secret gathering ends. The Titans leave the hidden cavern one by one. Their footsteps fade into distant passages beneath the earth. Yet the choice made there cannot fade. It travels with them. It settles upon the world like an unseen mist. The sea continues its eternal rhythm. The mountains remain still beneath the stars. Uranus stretches across the heavens in radiant splendor. Nothing appears different. And yet everything has changed. A rebellion now exists. A possibility has become a plan. You walk beside Cronus as he leaves the depths of Gaia. The youngest Titan carries the sickle wrapped in shadows. No eye sees it. No star reveals it. Yet its presence seems to alter the air around him. The blade feels alive, not through magic, through meaning. Every great act begins long before it occurs. It begins with a decision, a commitment, a moment when a path is chosen and all other paths slowly disappear. Cronus has reached that moment. Still, he is not without doubts. The myths rarely describe his inner thoughts in detail, but the silence around him suggests reflection. He knows what lies ahead. He knows the target, his father, the ruler of heaven, the sky itself. Even now, Uranus appears untouchable. Each evening, he descends over Gaia. His stars illuminate the world. His vast presence surrounds creation. How can anyone challenge such power? The question lingers. Perhaps even Cronus does not know the answer completely. Yet he continues forward. Ancient listeners often admired courage, but Greek myths rarely portray courage as the absence of fear. True courage exists beside fear. It acts despite uncertainty. Cronus embodies that complexity. You sense determination within him, but also apprehension, and perhaps something darker. Ambition continues growing quietly. The thought of a different world, a different ruler, a different age. Above Gaia waits. Her grief has not disappeared. The imprisoned children remain trapped within her depths. She feels every movement they make, every frustrated struggle, every cry muffled by stone. Their suffering strengthens her resolve. Night after night, she watches Uranus spread across the heavens. Once she loved that sight. Once his embrace felt comforting. Now it feels oppressive. The distance between affection and resentment can be surprisingly small, especially when trust has been broken. The Greeks understood this well. Many of their myths explore relationships transformed by betrayal. Love and anger often share the same roots. As the appointed night approaches, strange signs begin appearing across creation. The first comes beside the sea. Oceanus notices it. The great waters become unusually calm, not peaceful, expectant. The waves continue moving, yet their rhythm feels altered, as though the ocean itself is listening. Far away, seabirds gather upon dark cliffs and remain silent. No cries, no movement, only waiting. Another sign appears among the mountains. Hyperion observes a curious glow lingering along distant peaks after sunset. The light should vanish, yet it remains. A pale silver shimmer stretching across stone. Then it disappears without explanation. Elsewhere, Mnemosyne experiences a dream. In it, she sees a tree standing alone upon an empty plain. Its roots reach deep into darkness. Its branches stretch into the stars. Then a single branch breaks. The tree survives, but nothing afterward remains quite the same. When she awakens, she remembers every detail. Yet, she cannot fully interpret its meaning. Dreams often functioned this way in Greek tradition. They offered glimpses, hints, rarely certainty. Even divine messages arrived, wrapped in mystery. You remember the earlier omens, the falling star, the strange heartbeat beneath the earth, the wind within the cavern, the recurring image of the curved blade. Each sign now seems connected. A pattern emerges. Creation itself appears aware that a turning point approaches. Only Uranus remains blind, or perhaps unwilling to see. The heavens shine with confidence. The sky god believes his authority secure. The imprisoned children cannot escape. The titans remain obedient. The world appears stable. Fear often creates this illusion. Those who rule through fear frequently mistake silence for loyalty. Yet beneath silence, resistance may already be growing. One evening arrives unlike any before. The air feels cool and still. Stars cover the heavens in countless numbers. The sea reflects their light like polished obsidian. The scent of salt drifts across dark shores. A faint wind moves through hidden groves. Everything seems unusually vivid, almost sharpened, as though the world understands the importance of what is about to happen. Gaia lies waiting, quiet, patient. Cronus waits as well. Hidden, the sickle rests beside him. Its edge gleams faintly within the darkness. Time stretches. The night deepens. And then Uranus descends. The heavens lower themselves over Gaia. Stars shimmer above. The sky embraces the earth. For a brief moment, the scene appears beautiful. It reminds you of the earliest days, of creation, of companionship, of wonder. The tragedy feels greater because something precious once existed here. Then Gaia gives the signal. Ancient versions of the myth describe this moment differently. Some emphasize planning, others emphasize sudden action. Yet all agree on the essential truth. Cronus emerges. The youngest titan steps from concealment. No hesitation remains. No retreat remains possible. The stars seem to freeze overhead. The sea falls silent. Even the wind stops moving. You feel the entire cosmos holding its breath. Cronus raises the adamant sickle. Its curved blade catches starlight. The same blade foretold in dreams. The same blade forged from grief. The same blade carried through countless omens. Now prophecy becomes reality. The strike comes swiftly, terribly. The myths speak of violence here. Yet beneath the violence lies symbolism. A son overthrowing a father. A younger generation challenging the old. The breaking of oppressive authority. The painful birth of change. Ancient audiences understood these deeper meanings. The act transforms more than a family. It transforms the structure of the cosmos. Uranus cries out. The sound echoes across creation. Mountains tremble. Waves crash violently against distant shores. The stars themselves seem to shake. For the first time, the ruler of heaven has been wounded. The impossible has occurred. Blood falls upon Gaia, bright, divine, ancient, and as it touches the earth, new destinies begin stirring, unseen, unborn, waiting. The consequences have only begun. Uranus withdraws from Gaia. Slowly, painfully, the sky separates from the earth. Space opens between them. For the first time, heaven and earth stand apart. The world becomes larger. Breath returns to creation. Distance appears where closeness once existed. Ancient Greeks may have looked upward and wondered why the sky remained so far above the land. This myth offered an answer. The separation was not natural. It was the result of a cosmic wound. As Uranus retreats into the heights, he speaks a final warning, not merely to Cronus, to destiny itself. His words carry the weight of prophecy. One day he declares Cronus will suffer the same fate. A child will overthrow the father. The pattern will repeat. The wound will return. The warning hangs in the air long after Uranus vanishes. No one answers. No one can. For deep within the silence, fate has already heard. And fate never forgets. For a long moment after Uranus retreats, the world remains utterly still. You stand beneath a sky that feels strangely different. The stars are still there. The sea still breathes against the shore. The mountains still rise from the body of Gaia. Yet, something fundamental has changed. A space now exists between heaven and earth. The sky no longer presses against the land. The great separation has occurred. Creation feels larger, more open, more uncertain. Ancient listeners may have looked upward on clear nights and imagined this very moment. The vast distance between the earth beneath their feet and the stars above their heads became evidence of an ancient division. The wound remained visible. Every night, across the entire world, far overhead, Uranus continues withdrawing. His voice no longer dominates creation. His embrace no longer surrounds Gaia. The age of the Sky Father's rule is ending. Yet endings in Greek mythology rarely come alone. Every ending produces consequences. Every wound creates something new. And now those consequences begin unfolding. The divine blood of Uranus has fallen across Gaia. Bright drops scattered upon earth and stone. Where they land, strange transformations occur. You walk through a landscape touched by celestial blood. The air feels charged, almost electric. The scent of rain lingers despite cloudless skies. A distant rumbling echoes beneath the ground. Then the earth opens, not violently, slowly, deliberately. From the places touched by Uranus's blood emerge new beings. The Erinyes, the Furies, ancient powers of vengeance. They rise from the earth with solemn purpose. Not monsters, not demons, something more complex. The Greeks believed that certain crimes created obligations that could not simply disappear. Wrongs demanded acknowledgement. Violence left echoes. The Furies embodied that truth. Even at the birth of the cosmos, justice follows wrongdoing. You watch them emerge, dark-robed, silent, ancient beyond measure. They carry no immediate threat, yet their presence feels heavy, like a promise waiting patiently for fulfillment. Somewhere far in the future, kings and heroes will learn to fear them. For now, they simply enter existence, witnesses to the consequences of violence. Elsewhere, other beings appear. The giants rise from the earth, massive and powerful, born from divine blood and living soil. They seem connected to both heaven and earth, to conflict and creation, to destiny and rebellion. The world grows stranger with every passing moment, and still the transformations continue. Ancient traditions preserve yet another remarkable birth, one destined to become among the most famous in all mythology. Far out upon the sea, foam gathers upon the waves. The Greeks told many versions of this story. Some details differ. Some interpretations remain debated by historians. Yet the central image endured for centuries. The sea itself becomes fertile. Beauty emerges from violence. Wonder emerges from sorrow. The foam drifts across shining waters beneath moonlit skies. And from it will eventually come Aphrodite, not yet fully revealed, not yet stepping onto distant shores, but already present in possibility, already moving toward the world. The myth offers a fascinating reflection. Even painful events can produce unexpected beauty. Even tragedy can alter creation in ways nobody anticipates. The Greeks often embraced such complexity. They rarely divided existence into simple categories. The world remained mysterious, contradictory, rich with unexpected outcomes. As these new powers emerge, Gaia feels something she has not felt for a long time. Relief. The weight upon her lessens. The heavens no longer imprison her. The pressure that once dominated creation has vanished. She breathes freely. The mountains seem taller, the valleys wider, the seas more open. Yet, relief does not erase concern. For another question now arises. Who will rule? The answer appears obvious. Cronus, the Titan who challenged Uranus, the sun who changed the cosmos. Yet power creates its own uncertainties. The Greeks knew this from experience. Cities changed rulers. Kingdoms changed dynasties. Victorious leaders sometimes became the very thing they once opposed. No one can fully predict what authority will do to a person. Perhaps not even the person receiving it. The Titans gather beneath the newly separated heavens. Oceanus arrives from distant waters. Hyperion from the bright horizon. Mnemosyne carries memory of everything that has occurred. Themis contemplates the restoration of balance. Rhea watches quietly, and Cronus stands among them, victorious, but thoughtful. The warning of Uranus still echoes in the air. A child will overthrow the father. The pattern will repeat. The prophecy has already attached itself to him, like a shadow stretching across sunlight. Some ancient storytellers suggest that this warning troubled Cronus immediately. Others imply that years passed before its meaning took root. The truth remains uncertain, yet one fact feels undeniable. Prophecies possess power even before they come true. Once heard, they influence choices. They shape fears. They alter behavior. The seed has been planted, whether Cronus wishes it or not. That night, another omen appears, the first since the fall of Uranus. You stand beside the sea as darkness deepens. The stars shine brilliantly overhead. A cool wind drifts across the water. Then, without warning, the surface of the sea becomes perfectly still. Not a ripple remains. The reflection of the heavens appears flawless. Every star mirrored exactly. The sea becomes another sky. For several moments, heaven and earth seem reunited through reflection. Then a single ripple forms, small, almost invisible. It spreads outward across the water, one circle becoming many. The reflection breaks. The stars fragment. The moment passes. No explanation follows. Was it a blessing? A warning? A reminder that balance remains fragile? Ancient traditions leave the question unanswered, and perhaps that uncertainty gives the omen its power. Creation has entered a new age, but no age lasts forever. The Titans now stand at the threshold of greatness. Their rule is about to begin. The Golden Age awaits. A time later, Greeks would remember with longing and wonder. A world without labor, without suffering, without the burdens carried by future generations. At least, that is how the memory survives. Yet memories often soften reality. And beneath the promise of paradise, another story is already unfolding. The prophecy remains. The wound remains. The future remains hidden. As dawn slowly approaches across the young world, Cronus turns his gaze toward the throne left vacant by Uranus, and fate quietly follows him. Dawn arrives gently over the newborn world. The sea glows with pale silver light. Mist drifts across valleys untouched by human feet. Far above, the heavens stretch wide and distant, no longer pressed against the earth as they once were. You can still sense the absence of Uranus. The separation remains fresh, like a wound that has stopped bleeding but has not yet healed. The stars continue their courses. The mountains stand firm. The rivers begin their long journeys toward the sea. Creation survives, and now it must decide what comes next. The Titans gather beneath the open sky. They stand upon high ground overlooking the young world. Oceanus arrives from the encircling waters. Hyperion comes from the bright eastern horizon. Theia gleams softly beside him. Mnemosyne carries every memory of the great upheaval. Themis observes with quiet attention. Rhea stands among her siblings, thoughtful and watchful. And at the center of them all stands Cronus, the youngest Titan, the son who challenged heaven, the one who now faces a future larger than anything he imagined. The air feels cool. Sea winds carry the scent of salt across the hills. A few clouds drift above distant mountains. The world seems calm, yet beneath that calm lies uncertainty. For overthrowing a ruler is one thing, Becoming a ruler is another. Ancient Greeks understood this distinction well. Many stories warned that victory itself could become a dangerous test. A person may fight against tyranny, yet once given power, they may discover temptations they never expected. The Titans look toward Cronus. No formal crown exists. No marble palace waits upon a sacred hill. Olympus has not yet become the seat of divine kingship. The world remains young, simple, untamed. Yet leadership must still emerge. And so the Titans acknowledge Cronus as their ruler, the new lord of the cosmos, the successor to Uranus. For a moment the scene feels triumphant. The imprisoned children will soon be remembered. Gaia has been freed from oppression. The heavens no longer dominate the earth. A new age begins. The breeze moves softly through the world. Birds cross the distant sky. Sunlight spreads across mountains and sea. Everything seems filled with promise. Gaia watches her son carefully. She feels pride. After all, Cronus answered her call when others hesitated. He acted when action seemed impossible. Without him, the suffering of the imprisoned children might have continued forever. Yet mothers often see things others miss, and somewhere within her pride, a small concern remains. The warning of Uranus lingers. A child will overthrow the father. The pattern will repeat. The prophecy has not disappeared simply because victory has been achieved. It waits, silent, patient, like a shadow hidden beneath bright water. For now, however, the world embraces renewal. The Titans begin shaping the first great age of divine rule. Ancient Greeks later remembered this era as the Golden Age. The phrase carried enormous emotional power. It described a time before hardship, before greed, before endless labor, before many of the sorrows known to mortal life. As you wander through this early age, the world feels almost dreamlike. Fields produce abundance without effort. The earth gives generously. Rivers run clear. Forests remain peaceful. No armies march across the landscape. No cities compete for power. No kings build walls against enemies. The world seems to exist in harmony with itself. The Greeks often looked backward toward such imagined ages. Many cultures do the same. People living amid difficulty frequently dream of a lost simplicity, a time when life felt easier, more balanced, more connected to nature. The Golden Age reflects that longing. Whether ancient listeners believed it literally mattered less than what it represented. A memory of innocence, a hope for harmony, a reminder that life need not always be ruled by conflict. Cronus appears well suited to this age, at least initially. His rule is firm, orderly, confident. He does not govern through open cruelty. The Titans respect him. The cosmos remains stable. The fears that once drove Uranus seem absent, or perhaps merely hidden. You travel beside Oceanus as he circles the edges of the world. His waters flow endlessly, calm and immense. You watch Hyperion study the heavens. The stars appear orderly beneath the new regime. You observe Mnemosyne gathering memories of this peaceful era. Already she understands that future generations may look back upon these days with longing. Themis continues contemplating balance. Her presence reassures the world. Justice still exists. Order still matters. The great powers of creation work together, and for a time, the future appears bright. Yet myths rarely allow peace to remain unquestioned. Even during moments of tranquility, uncertainty lingers. One evening, as twilight spreads across the sea, Cronus experiences a dream. At least one ancient interpretation suggests such dreams accompanied the great turning points of divine history. The dream begins peacefully. He walks through endless golden fields. Warm sunlight covers the land. The air smells of grain and wildflowers. The world seems perfect. Then he notices footprints, small footprints, a child's footprints. They cross the fields ahead of him. He follows. The tracks lead toward a distant hill. At the summit stands a figure, young, unclear, hidden by light. Cronus calls out. The figure does not answer. Instead, it turns and walks away. As it disappears beyond the hill, the earth trembles softly. Cronus awakens. The dream leaves no direct message. No voice speaks prophecy. No god offers explanation. Yet unease remains. The feeling follows him into waking life. Ancient Greeks believed dreams occupied a mysterious space between mortal understanding and divine intention. Some dreams reflected ordinary thoughts. Others carried deeper significance. The challenge lay in knowing which was which. Cronus cannot be certain. Neither can you. The mystery remains unresolved. Days pass. The Golden Age continues. Yet small signs begin appearing. Nothing dramatic. Nothing obvious. A flock of birds changes direction suddenly during migration. A distant storm forms over the sea before dissolving without rain. A strange echo lingers among mountain cliffs after sunset. The signs mean nothing individually. Together, however, they create a subtle feeling, as though destiny has not finished its work. Historians continue to debate how ancient audiences interpreted such omens. Some likely saw them as evidence that divine powers constantly communicated through nature. Others may have appreciated them simply as reminders that the future remained uncertain. Whatever their meaning, the signs persist. And deep within Cronus, a question slowly grows. A question planted by Uranus. A question strengthened by dreams. A question fate refuses to answer. What child waits somewhere beyond the horizon of time? The Golden Age shines around him. The world prospers. The Titans flourish. Yet, beneath the beauty, the first seed of fear has begun to stir. The same fear that once transformed Uranus. The same fear that now sleeps quietly within the new king. For the moment, it remains dormant, barely visible, almost harmless. But seeds have a way of growing, especially those planted by prophecy. The years flow gently beneath the rule of Cronus. Not years as mortals will later measure them. Not seasons marked by harvest festivals or calendars carved into stone. This is divine time, slow, vast, almost dreamlike. You move through an age that later generations will remember with extraordinary affection. An age that poets will praise. An age that philosophers will discuss. An age that ordinary people burdened by hardship will imagine as a paradise forever lost. The Golden Age. Morning sunlight spreads across endless meadows. The grass bends softly beneath warm winds. Wildflowers cover hillsides that seem untouched by sorrow. Rivers glide through fertile valleys. The sea sparkles beneath clear skies. Everywhere you look, the world appears generous, abundant, alive. There are no walls, no battlefields, no prisons, no anxious kings preparing armies against rivals. Creation rests in harmony. The Greeks would later tell stories of mortals living during this age. People who knew neither hunger nor fear. People who grew old gently. People who lived close to the earth and close to the gods. Whether these tales were intended literally remains uncertain. Historians continue to debate how ancient audiences understood the Golden Age. Some may have viewed it as sacred history. Others perhaps understood it as a symbolic memory, a vision of balance rather than a record of actual events. Yet the power of the idea endured, because every generation imagines a better past. Every age dreams of a time before its troubles began. You wander through forests untouched by axes. The scent of pine drifts through cool air. Sunlight filters between ancient branches. Bird song echoes softly above hidden streams. No sense of urgency exists here. No pressure, no struggle. Nature and divinity seem perfectly aligned. Oceanus circles the world peacefully. His waters remain calm. Tethys fills rivers and springs with life. Theia's radiance glimmers upon precious stones hidden deep beneath mountains. Hyperion watches the heavens. The stars move in orderly patterns. The cosmos feels secure, stable, protected. Even Gaia appears content. The burden imposed by Uranus has been lifted. The heavens remain distant. The earth breathes freely. For the first time in countless ages, she experiences something close to peace. You find her resting among vast mountain ranges. Cloud shadows drift across her slopes. The scent of wild herbs rises from sunlit valleys. Everything seems tranquil. Yet now and then, she remembers. The imprisoned Cyclops, the 100-handed ones, the suffering that led to rebellion, the wound that changed the world. Memory never vanishes completely. Mnemosyne ensures that. The Titan of memory moves quietly through the Golden Age. She gathers every event, every joy, every sorrow, every choice. The Greeks believed memory possessed sacred importance. Without memory, wisdom disappears. Without memory, mistakes repeat endlessly. Without memory, identity itself fades. Mnemosyne understands this, and so she preserves everything, even moments others wish to forget. Among the Titans, another figure becomes increasingly important. Themis, the guardian of divine order. You often find her standing beside rivers or high upon hills, watching, listening, reflecting. Unlike warriors, she does not command through force. Unlike rulers, she does not seek authority. Her strength lies elsewhere, in understanding, in balance, in the recognition that power must remain accountable to something greater than itself. The Greeks admired this idea deeply. Even the gods were expected to respect certain laws, not written laws, not laws carved upon tablets, something older, more fundamental. A cosmic balance, a proper order. Themis embodies that principle, and during the Golden Age, her presence reassures the world. Yet no age remains entirely free from mystery. One evening, as twilight settles over distant hills, a curious event occurs. You stand beside a quiet lake. The water is perfectly still. The surface reflects every star beginning to appear above. Then a ring of light forms upon the lake. Soft, golden, gentle, it widens slowly, expanding across the water. No wind creates it. No stone disturbs the surface. The light simply appears. The phenomenon lasts several moments, then fades, leaving only darkness and stars behind. No explanation follows. The Titans discuss it briefly. Some dismiss it. Others remain curious. Themis says little. Mnemosyne remembers everything. Ancient storytellers often included such signs without providing answers. The mystery itself mattered. Not every divine message arrives fully explained. Not every omen reveals its purpose immediately. Sometimes uncertainty becomes part of the lesson. As the Golden Age continues, Rhea grows increasingly prominent among the Titans. You often encounter her walking through fertile landscapes. She pauses beside rivers, touches flowers growing among stones, listens to birds hidden within trees. There is warmth within her, unlike anyone else. A gentleness, a compassion. The world seems brighter around her. Perhaps this explains why so many later traditions remembered Rhea with affection. She embodies nurturing strength, the quiet resilience that sustains life. Cronus spends much time beside her. The two Titans appear well matched, at least on the surface. The ruler and the future queen, the king and the mother yet to come. Their companionship deepens with each passing age. Together they explore the young world. Together they witness its beauty. Together they imagine the future. Yet destiny listens carefully whenever someone speaks of the future. You remember the dream, the child standing upon the distant hill, the unanswered question, the unease left behind. Cronus remembers it too, though he rarely speaks of it. Sometimes while watching the horizon, his expression changes briefly. A shadow passes through his thoughts, then disappears. The Golden Age continues. The peace remains unbroken, but the dream lingers, like a distant storm hidden beyond mountains, visible only to those who know where to look. One night, another omen arrives. The stars shine unusually bright. The air feels cool and clear. Cronus stands alone upon a rocky height overlooking the sea. The waves move softly below. Then he notices something strange. A single star remains motionless. Every other star follows its course. This one does not. It hangs above the horizon, watching, waiting. Hours pass. Still it remains. At dawn it vanishes. No trace remains. No explanation appears. Perhaps it was merely a celestial wonder. Perhaps something more. Ancient traditions offer no certainty, only possibility. And possibility often carries greater power than answers. Cronus returns from the mountain troubled, not frightened, not yet, but thoughtful. The prophecy of Uranus remains buried within memory. The dream remains unresolved. The omens continue accumulating, small signs, subtle warnings, pieces of a pattern not yet complete. Around him, the Golden Age shines with extraordinary beauty. Fields remain fertile, rivers remain clear. The Titans remain united. Yet beneath all that splendor, fate moves quietly, invisible as roots beneath the earth, patient as tides beneath the sea. The first age of Titan rule has reached its height, and somewhere beyond the horizon of time, destiny has already begun preparing the next chapter. The Golden Age continues to glow like sunlight upon calm water. Days pass without hardship. Seasons drift gently across the world. The earth gives freely. The seas remain generous. The heavens follow their ordered paths. To later generations, this era will seem almost impossible. A dream remembered from childhood, a paradise standing just beyond reach. Yet, even paradise contains hidden currents. Even the calmest sea conceals depths below its surface. And so your attention gradually turns toward two figures whose destinies are becoming inseparable. Cronus and Rhea. You find them walking together through a broad valley filled with wildflowers. The afternoon sun warms the hillsides. A gentle breeze moves through tall grasses. Far away, rivers glitter like threads of silver beneath the sky. The scene feels peaceful, timeless. Yet something important is unfolding. Rhea has become more than the sister of the king. She has become his companion, his closest confidant, the presence he seeks when questions trouble him. The Greeks often portrayed divine marriages as reflections of cosmic relationships, not merely personal unions, partnerships that shaped entire worlds. And so the growing bond between Cronus and Rhea carries significance beyond affection. Together, they represent the future of the Titan Age. Together, they will determine what kind of world follows. Rhea moves through the landscape with quiet grace. Wherever she walks, life seems to flourish. Flowers bloom among stones. Birdsong lingers in the air. The scent of herbs rises from sunlit earth. Ancient worshippers later associated her with fertility, motherhood, and the sustaining rhythms of nature. Those qualities already shine within her. She notices beauty others overlook. The reflection of clouds upon water, the pattern of wind through trees, the distant cry of seabirds over cliffs. Rhea pays attention, and perhaps that is why she notices changes in Cronus before anyone else does. For the king has grown quieter, not withdrawn, not cold, simply more thoughtful, more distant at times. The burden of rulership rests heavily upon him. The world appears harmonious. The Titans remain loyal. No enemies threaten the throne. Yet peace brings its own challenges. A ruler who no longer fights external dangers often begins wrestling with internal ones. Thoughts, doubts, questions. You remember the prophecy spoken by Uranus. A child will overthrow the father. The warning has never been forgotten. Not entirely. Cronus rarely speaks of it. Yet it follows him, invisible but persistent, like a shadow cast by a cloud beyond sight. One evening, Rhea finds him standing alone beside the sea. Twilight spreads across the horizon. The scent of salt drifts through cool air. Waves roll gently against dark rocks below. For a long time, neither speaks. They simply watch the fading light. Finally, Rhea asks what troubles him. Cronus hesitates, then smiles. A small smile, a careful one. He speaks of responsibilities, of maintaining order, of protecting the peace won through sacrifice. His words are sincere, yet Rhea senses something deeper remains unspoken. The Greeks often understood silence as meaningful. What a person avoids saying may reveal as much as what they openly admit. Rhea does not press him. She simply remains beside him, offering companionship rather than answers. The moment passes, yet the question remains. What truly troubles the king? Far away, Mnemosyne remembers this conversation. Memory gathers even small moments. Sometimes the most important changes begin quietly, not with battles, not with declarations, with private conversations beside the sea. As the years continue, the relationship between Cronus and Rhea deepens further. The Titans celebrate their union. Festivities spread across the world. Sacred fires burn through the night. Songs echo among mountains. The scent of roasted offerings rises toward the stars. You move through the celebrations. Torchlight flickers across smiling faces. The sea reflects golden light. Warm winds carry music across distant hills. The world appears joyful, hopeful, filled with promise. Even Gaia watches with approval. She sees strength in Rhea, kindness, wisdom, the qualities necessary for guiding future generations. Yet beneath the celebration, another omen quietly unfolds. That night, Rhea experiences a dream. The dream begins beautifully. She walks through a meadow covered with golden flowers. Sunlight warms her face. Birds sing among distant trees. The world feels peaceful. Then she notices 6 young saplings growing in a circle. Each appears healthy, strong, full of life. She kneels beside them, touches their leaves, smiles. Then a shadow passes overhead. Not a storm, not a bird. Something larger, something unseen. One by one, The saplings vanish beneath the shadow, not destroyed, not uprooted, simply gone. Only the final sapling remains, smaller than the others, hidden partly behind a stone. The shadow reaches for it, yet cannot find it. The last sapling survives. Rhea awakens before dawn. The dream leaves her unsettled. She cannot explain why. No voice interpreted its meaning. No prophecy accompanied the vision. Yet the feeling lingers, a quiet sadness, a warning without words. Ancient Greeks often treated dreams with great respect. Temples dedicated to healing sometimes welcomed pilgrims seeking divine messages through sleep. Dreams occupied a mysterious space between mortal thought and divine communication. Not every dream mattered, but some seem to arrive from somewhere deeper. This feels like one of those dreams. Rhea tells no one, not even Cronus. The image remains private, hidden within memory. Days later, another sign appears. You stand upon a hillside overlooking a broad valley. The sky is clear. The air is warm. Suddenly, a flock of white birds rises from the grass below. Hundreds of them. They circle upward together. Graceful, beautiful. Then, without warning, 5 birds break away from the flock. They disappear into clouds. Only one remains visible. It continues climbing higher and higher until sunlight swallows it completely. The event lasts only moments. Yet several titans witness it. Different interpretations follow. Some dismiss it as coincidence. Others wonder. No consensus emerges. The mystery remains. And mysteries have a habit of lingering. Meanwhile, Cronus continues ruling wisely. The Golden Age endures. Fields remain fertile. The earth remains generous. The Titans remain united. Outwardly, everything appears secure, but fate rarely announces itself loudly. It works beneath the surface, through dreams, through omens, through questions that refuse to disappear. You think again of Uranus, of his final warning, of the child who would someday challenge the father. Cronus thinks of it too, more often now, though he still tells no one. And somewhere beyond sight, destiny listens, waiting for the moment when prophecy and fear finally meet. The years drift onward like slow-moving clouds above a quiet sea. The Golden Age remains unbroken. Harvests arrive without struggle. Rivers flow clear beneath open skies. The forests whisper softly in warm winds. To all appearances, the reign of Cronus has become exactly what many hoped it would be. Stable, prosperous, peaceful. Yet peace often hides complexities that conflict reveals. And as you spend more time among the Titans, you begin to see the subtle currents moving beneath the calm surface of their world. For the Titan family is not merely a collection of divine beings. It is a court, a society, a gathering of powerful personalities whose desires, talents, loyalties, and ambitions do not always align. You travel first to the great river of Oceanus. The waters stretch beyond sight, silver beneath the morning sun. The air smells fresh and cool. Mist rises gently from the surface. Oceanus himself remains much as he has always been. Patient, steady, uninterested in domination. Among the Titans, he serves as a stabilizing presence. Many admire him. Some even wonder whether he might have made a gentler ruler than Cronus. Yet, Oceanus seems unconcerned by such questions. Power does not tempt him. His satisfaction comes from continuity, from the endless flow of existence. This difference in temperament quietly shapes relationships within the Titan court. Not everyone seeks the same future. Far away, Hyperion and Theia preside over realms of radiance and celestial order. You find them standing upon a high ridge overlooking the sea. The horizon glows with brilliant light. The air feels warm against your skin. They speak often of harmony, of beauty, of the movements of the heavens. Yet, even among such luminous figures, pride exists. The Greeks rarely imagine greatness without pride. The two often traveled together. Hyperion knows his brilliance. Theia knows her beauty. Neither denies it. Neither hides it. And though their confidence rarely causes open conflict, it creates a subtle distinction between them and others. The Titan court contains many forms of power, some visible, some hidden. Elsewhere, Coeus and Phoebe devote themselves to mysteries. You encounter them among sacred heights, where mountain winds sweep across stone. Clouds drift below the peaks. Stars seem closer here, even during daylight. Phoebe listens constantly for patterns, signs, possibilities. She studies dreams, omens, prophecies, the hidden language of destiny. Cronus joins her in this pursuit. Together, they explore questions few others ask. What lies beyond the visible world? Can fate be understood? Can the future be glimpsed? The Greeks often associated wisdom with uncertainty rather than certainty. The truly wise recognized how much remained unknown. Phoebe and Cronus embody that tradition, yet their fascination with prophecy sometimes makes other titans uneasy. After all, the prophecy of Uranus still lingers over the court. A child will overthrow the father. No one discusses it openly. Yet everyone remembers. Memory remains alive through mnemosiny. You visit her often. She dwells in places where silence feels sacred. Groves of ancient trees, quiet springs, remote valleys untouched by noise. The scent of olive leaves drifts through the air. Water trickles over smooth stones. Bird song echoes gently among branches. Here, mnemosiny preserves everything, not merely events, emotions, choices, consequences. She understands something essential. The past never truly disappears. It remains present through remembrance. The Greeks valued this deeply. To be forgotten was a kind of death. To be remembered was a form of immortality. And so mnemosiny quietly guards the continuity of existence itself. Nearby, Themis continues her work. Her presence has become increasingly important, perhaps because the Titan age has matured. The longer peace lasts, the more questions arise concerning justice. How should power be exercised? What responsibilities accompany authority? What happens when rulers place themselves above balance? Themis contemplates these matters endlessly. You often find her beside sacred fires burning beneath open skies. The flames crackle softly. The scent of wood smoke rises into cool evening air. Stars appear overhead. Themis watches them carefully, as though reading invisible laws written across the heavens. Some later traditions would remember her as one of the greatest voices of order in all creation. You begin to understand why. Meanwhile, Iapetus grows increasingly restless. Among the Titans, he possesses a different energy, less reflective, more driven. The future seems to pull at him. His descendants have not yet been born, yet destiny already gathers around his line. The names Prometheus, Epimetheus, Atlas, and Menoetius still lie beyond the horizon, but their shadow is beginning to form. Some mysteries announce themselves long before they arrive. And then there is Rhea, the queen, the heart of the court. You notice how often others seek her company, not because she commands them, because she listens. The air feels lighter around her. Conversations become easier. Disagreements soften. Even tensions seem less severe. The Greeks understood the importance of such figures. Power alone cannot sustain a society. Compassion matters. Connection matters. The ability to unite matters. Rhea possesses all three. And perhaps this is why Gaia watches her so closely. The Earth Mother senses that Rhea's role in the future will become far greater than anyone yet realizes. One evening, the Titans gather beneath a sky overflowing with stars. Torches burn along a broad terrace overlooking the sea. The scent of roasted grain and sweet wine fills the air. Laughter drifts across the gathering. The atmosphere feels warm, comfortable. Yet beneath the celebration, subtle rivalries emerge. Not hatred, not hostility, something quieter. Hyperion debates celestial order with Cronus. Iapetus questions decisions made by the court. Oceanus prefers compromise. Others prefer certainty. Different visions of leadership begin revealing themselves. The discussion remains respectful, yet you sense how easily such differences might someday grow larger. The Greeks often viewed conflict as part of human nature, not always destructive, sometimes necessary. Disagreement could reveal truths that harmony concealed. The Titan court reflects this reality. Its members are united, but not identical. Then, as the evening deepens, another omen appears. The sea below suddenly glows, not brightly, softly, a pale silver radiance spreading across the water. The conversation stops. Everyone notices. The waves continue moving, yet the light remains. Strange, beautiful, unexplained. Phoebe studies it carefully. Themis grows thoughtful. Mnemosiny commits every detail to memory. The glow lasts only a few moments before fading. No answer follows. No prophecy emerges. Only uncertainty. And perhaps that uncertainty matters most. For the Golden Age remains magnificent. The Titans remain powerful. The court remains united. Yet omens continue appearing. Dreams continue returning. The warning of Uranus continues lingering like a distant echo. You remember Rhea's dream of the 6 saplings. You remember Cronus following the footprints of an unseen child. The signs are accumulating, small pieces of a larger design. No one can see the full pattern yet. Not even Phoebe, not even Themis, not even Gaia. But fate is weaving something, slowly, patiently. And as the Titan court prospers beneath the stars, the future draws one step closer. The silver glow upon the sea fades. The Titan court returns to its conversations. Laughter rises once more among the gathered powers. Torches flicker in the night wind. The scent of smoke drifts upward toward the stars. Yet the strange light remains in memory. Mnemosyne preserves it. Phoebe wonders about it. And somewhere deep within the hidden machinery of fate, another thread has been added to the design. You leave the court behind and travel toward a place few beings ever visit. The edge of the world, not the edge as modern people might imagine it, not a cliff falling into emptiness. The ancient Greeks envisioned something different. They imagined that all lands, seas, mountains, and islands were encircled by a vast river. A river beyond all rivers. A boundary separating the familiar world from the mysteries beyond. This was Oceanus. Not merely a titan, not merely a god. A living frontier, a cosmic boundary flowing around creation itself. As you approach his domain, the air begins to change. The familiar sense of fertile valleys fade. The warm fragrance of wildflowers disappears. Instead, you smell fresh water mixed with salt. Mist hangs low above the surface. The light seems softer here, more distant, almost dreamlike. A great river stretches before you. Its waters are calm, silent, immense. No opposite bank can be seen. The horizon dissolves into pale, silver haze. You stand at a place where certainty ends. The Greeks loved such places, not because they were safe, because they inspired wonder. Beyond the known world lived possibilities, unknown lands, strange peoples, hidden truths. The edge of the world became a symbol for mystery itself. Oceanus understands this better than anyone. You find him walking beside the endless waters. His movements are unhurried, his gaze calm. The years seem to flow through him, just as his river flows around creation. Among all the Titans, Oceanus appears least concerned with power. Perhaps that is why he seems so content. The throne of Cronus holds little attraction for him. Authority rises and falls. Generations come and go. But rivers continue. Water remembers how to endure. Ancient Greeks often associated rivers with wisdom, not because rivers speak, because they persist. They adapt. They find paths around obstacles. Oceanus embodies that kind of wisdom. As you walk beside him, he studies the horizon. The mist thickens there. No stars appear beyond it. No mountains, no distant shores, only uncertainty. Then Oceanus speaks quietly, not to you, perhaps to the river itself. He wonders what lies beyond. The question surprises you. If even Oceanus does not know who does, the mystery feels profound. Ancient storytellers sometimes hinted that realms existed beyond the known cosmos, places inaccessible even to gods. Other traditions suggested that Oceanus marked the final limit. No one could travel farther. Historians continue debating these possibilities. The myths rarely provide definitive answers, and perhaps they were never intended to. The edge of the world works best when it remains mysterious. The unknown invites imagination. Certainty closes doors. The mist shifts slightly. For a brief moment, you think you see movement beyond it. A shape, a silhouette, something standing where no land should exist. Then it vanishes. Oceanus notices as well. His expression changes, only slightly, enough to suggest curiosity, perhaps concern. Neither of you speaks. The uncertainty itself feels meaningful. The Greeks often accepted mysteries rather than solving them. Some questions belong to the realm of speculation. The unseen horizon remains one of them. As the day passes, you continue along the great river. The landscape becomes increasingly strange. Trees grow taller. Their roots twist into the water. The leaves shimmer with unusual colors beneath shifting light. Birds glide silently overhead. Even the air feels older here, as though time moves differently. You encounter nymphs tending springs that feed into Oceanus. Their laughter echoes through the mist. The scent of fresh water surrounds them. They seem untouched by worry, untouched by prophecy, untouched by the burdens carried elsewhere in the cosmos. For a moment, the world feels perfectly balanced. Yet balance rarely lasts forever. That evening, another sign appears. The first star emerges above the river, then another, then hundreds. Their reflections shimmer across the water. Oceanus watches quietly. Suddenly, one reflection begins moving independently. The star above remains fixed. Its reflection drifts slowly across the river, against the current, against all reason. The movement is subtle, almost impossible to notice. Yet, it continues. The reflected star travels farther and farther from its celestial counterpart. Oceanus follows it with his eyes. You do the same. The river remains silent. The night remains calm. The reflected star finally disappears into the mist. Gone. No explanation follows. No divine voice interprets the event. Only questions remain. Was it an omen? A warning? A glimpse of something hidden beyond the world? Ancient traditions offer no certainty. The mystery survives. And because it survives, it retains its power. Oceanus spends much of the night contemplating the sign. You sit beside the river together. The air grows cooler. Mist drifts across the surface. Stars wheel slowly overhead. The scene feels peaceful. Yet beneath the peace lies reflection. Oceanus remembers Uranus, the old king, the prophecy, the wound that divided heaven and earth. He remembers the courage of Cronus, but he also remembers the warning that followed. A child will overthrow the father. The pattern will repeat. Time has passed since those words were spoken, yet they have not faded. Prophecies rarely do. Even when ignored, they continue shaping the thoughts of those who hear them. The reflected star seems connected somehow, not directly, symbolically, a thing separating from its source, a child departing from a parent, a path diverging from its beginning. Perhaps the meaning is only imagined, perhaps not. The uncertainty lingers. Near midnight, Oceanus finally rises. He gazes once more toward the endless mist beyond the edge of the world. Then he turns away. The future remains hidden. The horizon reveals nothing. Yet the signs continue accumulating. Rhea's dream, Cronus's dream, the silver glow upon the sea, the mysterious reflection moving against the current. Each piece alone means little. Together they suggest movement, change, approaching destiny. The golden age still shines brightly across creation. The titans remain secure. The world remains beautiful. But somewhere beyond sight, beyond the mist, beyond even the edge of Oceanus himself, fate continues advancing. Slowly, quietly, like a river flowing toward a destination no one can yet see, you leave the misty boundaries of Oceanus behind. The great river continues its endless journey around the world, carrying its mysteries into distances no eye can fully explore. Yet another part of creation now calls your attention. A brighter part, a warmer part, a realm where radiance itself begins taking shape. For while the golden age unfolds beneath the rule of Cronus, another transformation is quietly occurring among the titans. The world has mountains, the world has seas, the world has stars. But now it begins receiving something even more intimate. Light, not merely illumination. Meaning, presence, witness. You travel eastward across broad valleys washed with pale dawn colors. The air feels fresh and cool. Wild grasses bend beneath a gentle breeze. Far away, the sea reflects bands of gold and silver along the horizon. There, standing where sky seems to meet earth, are Hyperion and Theia, the radiant pair, the Lord and Lady of heavenly brilliance. Ancient Greeks remembered them as powers connected to light long before the Olympian age. And as you approach, you sense why. Even the landscape seems altered around them. Colors appear richer. The sky feels deeper. The distant hills glow softly beneath their influence. Hyperion gazes toward the heavens. Theia watches the world below. Together, they embody a balance between above and below, vision and reflection, source and perception. Many later philosophers found symbolic meaning in these figures. For what is light without someone to see it? And what is sight without light to reveal the world? The Greeks often wove profound ideas into seemingly simple myths. From the union of Hyperion and Theia come children whose presence will transform the cosmos. Helios, Selene, and Eos, the sun, the moon, and the dawn. Though later traditions tell their stories in many forms, you now witness their earliest emergence. The first to reveal himself is Helios. You stand upon a high ridge as the eastern horizon brightens. The darkness begins retreating. The stars fade one by one. Then Helios rises, golden, radiant, magnificent. His light spreads across sea and mountain alike. The world awakens beneath his gaze. Every river glitters, every hilltop glows. Every wave catches fire with reflected brilliance. The warmth upon your skin feels immediate, comforting, life-giving. Ancient Greeks viewed Helios as more than the physical sun. He was the all-seeing witness. Nothing escaped his notice. Every oath, every betrayal, every hidden act, light reveals. That was one of the oldest lessons contained within his myth. Darkness may conceal, but eventually the sun returns. Eventually truth becomes visible. This idea mattered deeply in Greek culture. Many stories remind listeners that secrets rarely remain hidden forever. Helios embodies that certainty. As the day advances, you travel westward through landscapes transformed by his presence. Olive groves shimmer beneath warm light. The scent of herbs rises from sunlit hillsides. Birds wheel across blue skies. The world feels alive in a new way, as though creation has opened its eyes. Yet Helios is not alone. When evening arrives, another child of Hyperion and Theia takes her place. Selene, the moon. The transition feels gentle, almost sacred. The bright gold of day softens into silver. Cool air drifts across valleys. The scent of sea salt grows stronger. One by one, stars return to the heavens, and among them rises Selene, beautiful, serene, timeless. Her light differs from that of Helios. The sun reveals. The moon invites reflection. You wander beneath her glow. The world becomes quieter, more mysterious. Shadows lengthen across hillsides. The sea shimmers with silver pathways. Temple traditions that would emerge many ages later often linked moonlight with dreams, intuition, and sacred mysteries. Standing beneath Selene, you understand why. Moonlight never reveals everything. It leaves room for imagination, for uncertainty, for wonder. And the Greeks valued wonder deeply. Not every truth needed complete explanation. Some truths felt more powerful when glimpsed indirectly. Selene embodies that wisdom. Late in the night, another omen appears. You stand beside a quiet shoreline. Moonlight dances upon the water. The waves move softly against smooth stones. Then a ring of silver light forms around Selene, a luminous circle, perfect, silent. The phenomenon lasts several minutes before fading. Several titans witness it from distant places. No one agrees on its meaning. Phoebe interprets it as a sign connected to future prophecy. Hyperion sees only celestial beauty. Themis remains thoughtful but silent. The mystery survives, as it always does. Then comes Eos, the dawn. Of all the children, perhaps she feels most fleeting, most delicate. Each morning she appears briefly upon the horizon, painting the sky with rose and gold. Her arrival bridges darkness and light, night and day, dream and waking. The Greeks loved such transitions. Thresholds fascinated them. Doorways, crossroads, harbors, sunrises, moments between states often carried sacred significance. Eos embodies that principle perfectly. You watch her spread color across the heavens. The clouds blush with crimson and gold. Mountain peaks glow softly. The sea catches every shade. For a few precious moments, the world seems suspended between realities. Then Helios rises again, and another day begins. As the ages pass, the children of Hyperion and Theia become woven into the rhythms of existence itself. The sun marks time. The moon shapes nights. The dawn renews hope. Their presence makes the cosmos feel ordered, predictable, reliable. Yet beneath that order, another truth emerges. Light witnesses everything. Helios sees. Selene observes. Eos greets each new beginning. Nothing remains entirely hidden. This idea slowly begins troubling Cronus. Not openly. Not yet. But you notice it. Sometimes while standing beneath bright daylight, he grows thoughtful. Sometimes while watching moonlight upon the sea, his expression darkens slightly. The prophecy remains with him. The dream of the child remains with him. And now a world illuminated by divine light surrounds him. a world where secrets become harder to ignore. One evening, as Helios descends beyond the western horizon, Cronus experiences another dream. He stands beneath brilliant sunlight. The world around him appears perfect. Golden fields stretch endlessly. The air smells of grain and summer. Then he notices his shadow. It is longer than it should be, far longer. The shadow stretches across valleys, across rivers, across mountains, and at its end stands a child, watching, silent, unmoving. Cronus wakes before dawn. The dream leaves no explanation, only unease. Outside, Eos begins painting the sky. The first light spreads across the world, beautiful, peaceful, unavoidable. And as the golden age continues shining in all its splendor, the light of Hyperion's children illuminates something else as well. The growing fear hidden within the heart of a king, the dream lingers with Cronus long after dawn arrives. Helios rises. The world brightens. The valleys fill with golden light. Yet some images refuse to fade when sleep ends. The silent child standing at the end of the shadow remains among them. Cronus speaks of the dream to no one. Not to Rhea, not to Oceanus, not even to Themis. The fear is still small enough to hide, still quiet enough to ignore, or so he believes. But elsewhere in the Titan world, another power is at work. A quieter power, a deeper one. Not concerned with kingship or prophecy, not concerned with victory or defeat. A power that preserves everything. You leave the bright domains of Helios and travel inland. The landscape changes gradually. The hills become gentler. Ancient groves spread across the countryside. The scent of cypress and olive trees fills the warm air. Birdsong drifts through branches, stirred by a soft breeze. Streams flow over smooth stones. Everything here feels calm, protected, timeless. This is where Mnemosyne often dwells, the Titan of memory. Among all the children of Gaia and Uranus, few possess influence as subtle or profound as hers. You find her beside a spring emerging from the side of a low hill. The water is remarkably clear. Every pebble at the bottom remains visible. Sunlight dances across the surface. The air smells fresh and cool. Mnemosyne sits quietly beneath an ancient tree, listening, watching, remembering. At first glance, her role seems simple. Memory. What could be more ordinary? Yet the Greeks understood that memory was sacred. Without memory, no civilization survives. Without memory, no wisdom passes between generations. Without memory, identity itself dissolves. You are who you remember yourself to be. Entire peoples are shaped by the stories they preserve. Mnemosyne embodies that truth. The Greeks honored memory because they lived in a culture where stories traveled through human voices. Before books became common, before libraries filled with scrolls, knowledge survived through remembrance. Poets carried history. Priests carried tradition. Families carried ancestral stories. Memory became a bridge across time. Standing beside Mnemosyne, you begin to understand why she occupies such an important place in the old myths. She remembers everything. Not selectively, not imperfectly. Everything. The first emergence of Gaia, the birth of the Titans, the sorrow of the imprisoned Cyclops, the fall of Uranus, the rise of Cronus. Every word, every choice, every consequence. Nothing escapes her. One afternoon, as you sit beside the spring, Mnemosyne gazes into the water. The surface ripples gently. For a moment, images appear, not reflections. Memories. You glimpse the first stars appearing above Gaia. You see the hidden cavern where Cronus accepted the sickle. You hear the distant cry of Uranus withdrawing into heaven. The images fade quickly, yet they leave a powerful impression. The past remains alive within memory. The Greeks often treated remembrance almost as a sacred form of immortality. Heroes sought glory not merely to win battles. They sought to be remembered. A forgotten life vanished completely. A remembered life endured. This belief shaped much of Greek culture, and its roots stretch back to Mnemosyne. As the day passes, she shares another insight. Memory does not simply preserve events, it shapes them. Every generation retells old stories differently. Every storyteller emphasizes certain details and neglects others. Historians continue debating how much ancient myths changed over centuries of oral transmission. Some stories likely evolved dramatically. Others remained surprisingly stable. Yet the process itself fascinated the Greeks. Truth survived through memory. But memory was never perfectly still. The idea carries a gentle mystery. How much of the past can truly be known? How much survives unchanged? The question remains unanswered. And perhaps it always will. That evening, another unusual event occurs. The spring beside Mnemosyne grows strangely still. Not a leaf disturbs its surface. Not a breeze touches the water. The sky above darkens as twilight approaches. Stars begin appearing one by one. Then, without warning, the spring reflects not the present sky. It reflects a different one. Older, the stars occupy unfamiliar positions. Constellations seem slightly altered. The vision lasts only moments. Then it disappears. The water returns to normal. Mnemosyne watches silently. She does not appear surprised, as though memory itself briefly opened a window into another time. Was it an omen? A message? A reminder? The answer remains uncertain. The Greeks often allowed sacred experiences to remain unexplained. Mystery preserved reverence. Too much certainty diminished wonder. Elsewhere in the Titan world, life continues peacefully. Oceanus circles the world. Helios crosses the heavens. Selene lights the night. Themis contemplates justice. Rhea brings warmth wherever she travels. The Golden Age remains magnificent. Yet memory reveals something important. No age lasts forever. Mnemosyne knows this. She has seen the pattern already. Parents give way to children. Rulers rise and fall. Generations succeed one another. The cosmos itself evolves. Perhaps this is why she pays such close attention to Cronus. Not because he is king, because he is part of the pattern. One evening, she witnesses him standing alone beside a cliff overlooking the sea. The sun is setting. Their horizon burns with gold and crimson. The waves below crash softly against stone. Cronus appears thoughtful, almost troubled. Mnemosyne watches from a distance. Then she notices something curious. His shadow stretches across the cliff behind him, and for a brief instant, another shadow appears beside it. Smaller, younger, almost childlike. Then it vanishes. No one else sees it, not even Cronus. The moment passes quickly. Yet Mnemosyne remembers. She always remembers. Ancient audiences would have recognized the significance immediately. A sign, a hint, a whisper from fate. Not enough to reveal the future, enough to suggest movement toward it. The memory joins countless others within her care. The dream of the saplings, the silver glow upon the sea, the reflected star moving against the current, the moon's luminous ring, the child standing at the end of the king's shadow. One by one the signs accumulate, like stones placed along a hidden path. No single omen explains the future. Together they suggest its approach. Night settles fully across the world. Selene rises above the horizon. Silver light washes over hills and forests. The spring beside Mnemosyne glimmers softly beneath the stars. The Titan of memory remains awake, watching, preserving, waiting, for she understands something few others fully grasp. The future may remain hidden, but when it finally arrives, memory will ensure that nothing is forgotten. And somewhere beyond the reach of sight, destiny continues writing the next chapter of the world. The stars drift slowly across the heavens. Selene casts silver pathways over rivers and seas. The world sleeps peacefully beneath her gentle light. Yet not all powers sleep. Some remain awake long after the celebrations end, long after the songs fade, long after the winds grow quiet. Among them is Themis. You leave the grove of Mnemosyne and travel toward a place where the air feels unusually clear. The landscape rises steadily. Rolling hills give way to rocky heights. Wild thyme grows among the stones. The scent drifts through the cool night air. Above you, the heavens stretch endlessly. The stars seem closer here, brighter, almost within reach. This is one of the places Themis favors. A place where silence allows deeper thoughts to emerge. A place where the hidden order of the cosmos feels easier to sense. You find her seated beside a sacred fire. The flames burn steadily despite the wind. Orange light dances across nearby rocks. The crackling of wood mingles with distant sounds from the sea far below. The scene feels ancient, timeless, as though it has existed since the beginning of creation. Themis watches the fire without speaking. She appears calm, yet her mind is always working, always observing, always measuring. For Themis embodies something few of the other titans fully understand. Not power, not memory, not light. Order. The Greeks believed that beneath the visible world existed patterns older than kings and older than gods. Certain actions carried consequences. Certain boundaries existed for a reason. Certain balances could not be violated forever. Themis represented those truths. She was not a creator of laws. She was the guardian of laws already woven into reality. This distinction mattered. A ruler may issue commands. A king may establish customs. But Themis served something greater, a cosmic order that even rulers must respect. You sit beside the sacred fire as dawn approaches. The flames cast shifting shadows. The scent of smoke rises into the dark sky. Then Themis finally speaks, not directly to you, more like a reflection offered to the night itself. She speaks of cycles, of generations, of succession. Every living thing passes something onward, parents to children, teachers to students, rulers to heirs. The process cannot be stopped, only delayed. The words seem simple, yet they carry tremendous weight. You remember Uranus, his fear of powerful children, his attempt to imprison the future. You remember what followed, the rebellion, the wound, the fall. Themis remembers as well. Nothing in the cosmos escapes her awareness of balance. One generation attempted to prevent succession. The result was catastrophe. The lesson should be obvious. Yet lessons are not always learned, especially by those who hold power. As the first light of dawn appears, another visitor arrives. Phoebe, the Titan associated with prophecy and hidden knowledge. The two sisters often meet in places like this, far from the distractions of the court, far from the concerns of daily rule. The air grows brighter. The horizon glows softly. Eos begins painting the sky with shades of gold and rose. Phoebe settles beside the fire. For a while, neither speaks. Then Phoebe describes a dream, a troubling one. She saw a great tree growing from the center of the world. Its roots reached deep into Gaia. Its branches touched the stars. The tree seemed eternal, unshakable. Then, without warning, a crack appeared in its trunk. The tree remained standing, but the crack continued widening, slowly, year after year. The dream ended before the tree fell. Phoebe cannot explain its meaning, neither can Themis. Yet both understand that certain dreams deserve attention. The Greeks often treated prophetic dreams as fragments rather than complete messages. The future rarely revealed itself clearly. Instead, it offered symbols, images, questions. The crack in the tree joins the growing collection of mysteries surrounding the Titan Age. Another omen, another piece of an unfinished pattern. As the day unfolds, you travel with Themis across the world. Everywhere she goes, she notices relationships invisible to others. The tides following the moon, the movement of stars across seasons, the balance between growth and decay, the exchange between giving and receiving. Order surrounds everything. Most beings simply fail to notice it. The Greeks often viewed justice similarly. True justice was not arbitrary. It reflected deeper principles already present within existence. Themis embodies that understanding. Later generations would honor her precisely because she represented stability in an uncertain world. By midday, you arrive at a high plateau overlooking valleys and distant seas. The view is magnificent. The scent of warm grass rises beneath the sun. Birds circle on invisible currents of air. The world appears perfectly balanced. And yet Themis seems troubled, not frightened, concerned. You finally understand why. She sees something developing within Cronus. Not actions, not decisions. Potential. The same fear that once consumed Uranus has begun stirring within the king. Still small, still hidden, but present. Fear has a way of disrupting balance. A ruler who fears the future often attempts to control it. And attempts to control destiny rarely end well. Themis says nothing publicly. The Golden Age remains prosperous. No crisis exists. No injustice demands immediate action. Yet she continues watching, waiting, listening. Ancient Greeks understood that great disasters often begin long before they become visible. A storm forms beyond the horizon before rain reaches shore. A crack appears before a wall collapses. A fear grows before it becomes a crime. Themis recognizes these early signs. That evening, another omen arrives. You stand with her beside a quiet cliff. The sea stretches endlessly below. Sunset paints the horizon with brilliant color. Then, something unusual occurs. For several moments, two shadows appear behind every object. Two shadows behind trees. Two shadows behind stones. Two shadows behind Themis herself. One shadow follows the setting sun. The other points toward the east, toward tomorrow. The phenomenon vanishes almost immediately. No explanation follows. Themis watches carefully. Phoebe, standing nearby, notices as well. Neither offers an interpretation. Some signs are too subtle. Some truths require time. Night falls. The stars return. The world settles into silence. Yet the lesson of Themis remains. Beneath kings, beneath prophecies, beneath even the gods themselves, order endures. A hidden law governs creation. The generations move forward. The future cannot remain imprisoned forever. And though Cronus still sits securely upon his throne, the balance of the cosmos has already begun shifting beneath his feet. The same law that once brought down Uranus continues its patient work, invisible, unstoppable, waiting for the moment when fear and destiny finally collide. The stars fade slowly before dawn. A cool wind moves across the high places where Themis keeps watch. Below, rivers gleam faintly in the growing light. The world remains beautiful. The golden age continues. The fields are fertile. The seas are calm. The Titans still govern a cosmos that appears harmonious and secure. Yet beneath that harmony, unseen paths are forming. Some lead toward prophecy, some toward kingship, and one path still hidden from nearly everyone leads toward humanity itself. To follow that path, you must journey beside Iapetus. Among the Titans, Iapetus often seems slightly apart. Not isolated, not unwelcome, simply different. Oceanus thinks in terms of rivers and eternity. Hyperion studies light. Themis contemplates order. Mnemosyne preserves memory. But Iapetus appears drawn toward action, toward consequences, toward futures not yet visible. You find him wandering a rugged coastline where dark cliffs overlook a restless sea. The scent of salt fills the air. Waves strike ancient stone below. Seabirds circle overhead, their cries carried by the wind. The landscape feels less tranquil than the meadows of the Golden Age. More uncertain, more dynamic. Perhaps that is why Iapetus favors it. He often stands at the boundary between calm and change. As you walk beside him, he studies the horizon, not unlike Oceanus. Yet, the two Titans look outward for different reasons. Oceanus wonders what exists beyond the world. Iapetus wonders what the world itself may become. The distinction matters, for Iapetus is connected to a future unlike that of any other Titan. Though his greatest descendants have not yet appeared, their presence already seems to linger around him like distant thunder beyond the mountains. Prometheus, Epimetheus, Atlas, Menoetius. The names remain unspoken. The lives remain unborn. Yet fate has already begun preparing them. The Greeks often viewed lineage as meaningful, not because children perfectly resemble their parents, because certain qualities travel through generations. Strength, wisdom, pride, curiosity, compassion, rebellion. The future sometimes leaves traces long before it arrives. Iapetus carries such traces. One afternoon you travel inland with him. The coastline gives way to broad plains. Wild grasses ripple beneath warm winds. The scent of earth rises beneath the sun. Far away, mountains shimmer in pale blue haze. The world feels immense, open, full of possibilities. Iapetus pauses beside a stream. The water flows gently over smooth stones. For a long time, he watches the current. Then he asks a question, a simple one, yet strangely powerful. What purpose does strength serve if it never faces challenge? The question lingers in the air. The Golden Age offers abundance, peace, security, but Iapetus senses something missing. Growth often emerges through difficulty. Wisdom often emerges through mistakes. Without challenge can greatness truly develop. The Greeks wrestled with such questions repeatedly. Their heroes rarely lived easy lives. Their greatest figures often suffered profoundly. Struggle was not merely unfortunate. It could also be transformative. Perhaps Iapetus senses this truth long before anyone else. As evening approaches, another curious event occurs. You stand beside a broad valley bathed in golden light. The air smells of flowering herbs. Birds settle among distant trees. Then shadows begin moving across the grass, not from clouds, not from anything visible. The shadows drift slowly across the landscape, as though unseen figures are passing overhead. Iapetus notices immediately. He follows them with his eyes. The phenomenon lasts several minutes, then vanishes. No explanation follows. No voice interprets the sign. The mystery remains. Yet the shadows leave behind an impression, the feeling that unseen forces are moving through the world. Ancient listeners often accepted such moments without demanding certainty. Not every omen needed immediate understanding. Some signs revealed their meaning only years later, or generations later. This may be one of them. That night, Iapetus experiences a dream. The dream feels different from those that have troubled Cronus. Less personal, more expansive. He sees a vast plain stretching beneath unfamiliar stars. Upon the plain stand countless figures, not titans, not gods, smaller beings, fragile, brief, yet vibrant. They build fires, tell stories, raise children, create songs, then disappear. Generation after generation, the plain fills with life, empties, fills again. The cycle continues endlessly. Iapetus awakens before dawn. The dream leaves him thoughtful. He does not fully understand what he has seen. How could he? Humanity does not yet exist. The dream belongs to a future still hidden beyond the horizon of time. Yet its emotional power remains. Something important is coming. Something connected not merely to gods, to mortals. The Greeks often used dreams to hint at events far beyond the immediate story. The future reveals itself gradually. A glimpse here, a symbol there. Never enough to remove uncertainty, only enough to create anticipation. As the days pass, Iapetus shares none of this with the Titan court. The Golden Age continues. The world remains prosperous. Cronus rules securely. Rhea walks through fertile valleys. Helios illuminates the heavens. Selene guides the night. Nothing appears changed. And yet, the signs continue accumulating. The crack in Phoebe's tree, the double shadows seen by Themis. The child standing at the end of Cronus's shadow. The strange dream of future generations upon a distant plain. Each omen seems unrelated. Yet, Mnemosyne remembers them all. And memory has a way of revealing patterns. Late one evening, you return with Iapetus to the sea. The horizon glows faintly beneath moonlight. The waves move gently against the shore. Selene hangs above the water like a silver lantern. Then something extraordinary happens. For a brief moment, countless lights appear beneath the sea. Tiny lights, thousands of them, perhaps millions. They shimmer below the surface like stars trapped underwater. The vision lasts only moments. Then darkness returns. The sea becomes ordinary once more. Iapetus remains silent. The sight feels important, yet impossible to explain. Was it merely beauty? A prophecy? A reflection of lives yet to come? The answer remains hidden. And so the mystery survives. As midnight deepens, you look out across the dark waters. The Golden Age still shines across the world. The Titans still believe themselves masters of creation. Yet beyond their concerns, another future is already stirring. A future filled with firelight and storytelling, with memory and struggle, with triumph and loss. A future that will belong not to Titans, but to mortal beings. And though they do not yet know it, the path toward that future runs directly through the descendants of Iapetus. The lights beneath the sea vanish. Dark water stretches once more beneath the moon. The waves continue their quiet rhythm against the shore. Yet the memory remains, as memories always do. Mnemosyne preserves it. Iapetus reflects upon it. And somewhere beyond sight, fate adds another thread to its growing tapestry. The Golden Age continues. The world remains beautiful. The fields remain fertile. The rivers remain clear. The Titans continue believing they stand at the height of creation. But now the story begins to bend toward its next turning, slowly, almost imperceptibly, like a tide changing direction beneath a calm surface. Your path leads back toward Cronus, back toward the king whose rule has brought prosperity to the cosmos. For many years he has governed wisely. The wounds left by Uranus seem distant. The rebellion belongs to memory. Peace has become normal. Yet peace has not brought him freedom, because one thing remains, the prophecy. You find Cronus standing alone upon a high cliff overlooking the sea. Dawn has not yet arrived. The sky remains dark. Stars shine overhead. A cool wind moves across the rocks. Far below, waves crash softly against the shoreline. The scene feels peaceful. Yet the king is not. He watches the horizon without moving, without speaking. The years have changed him, not visibly, not dramatically, but subtly. Authority has weight. Responsibility has weight. And prophecy has weight as well. Ancient Greeks often portrayed kings as figures burdened by knowledge. A shepherd worries about today's weather. A ruler worries about tomorrow, and the day after, and the years beyond. Cronus carries such worries now, more than before. The prophecy spoken by Uranus never truly disappeared. At first, it felt distant, abstract, something belonging to another age. But time has a way of drawing prophecies closer, especially when they concern the future. The words return to him often. A child will overthrow the father. The pattern will repeat. The wound will return. You can almost hear them moving through his thoughts, like an echo carried across a valley. The Greeks understood something important about fear. Fear rarely arrives all at once. It grows, quietly, patiently. A small concern becomes a habit. A habit becomes an obsession. An obsession becomes a prison. Cronus has not reached that final stage. Not yet. But the path has begun. As dawn approaches, another dream comes. Not during sleep. Something stranger. A waking vision. The horizon grows pale with approaching sunlight. The sea remains calm. Then, for a brief moment, Cronus sees a figure standing upon the water. Small, young, the shape of a child. The figure does not move, does not speak, simply stands there, watching. The vision lasts only a heartbeat. Then it disappears. The sea becomes empty once more. Cronus grips the edge of the cliff. The air suddenly feels colder. No one else witnesses the moment. No explanation follows. Ancient traditions often blurred the line between dreams, visions, and omens. Divine messages could arrive through many paths. The uncertainty itself formed part of their power. What matters is not whether the child truly stood upon the sea. What matters is that Cronus believes he saw it. The image follows him throughout the day. At court, he appears calm. The Titans gather as they always do. Oceanus speaks of distant waters. Hyperion discusses the movements of light. Themis listens quietly. Rhea remains warm and attentive. Everything appears normal. Yet the king hears the prophecy everywhere. Not literally, symbolically. A casual remark about future generations. A conversation about succession among lesser divine beings. Even the sight of young trees growing beside older ones. Everywhere he looks, the same lesson appears. The future replaces the past. Children follow parents. New growth follows old growth. The pattern exists throughout nature, throughout creation. The realization troubles him deeply. Because if the pattern governs everything else, why would it spare him? That evening, he travels alone, away from the court, away from conversation, away from reassurance. The sun sinks behind distant hills. The sky burns with gold and crimson. The scent of warm earth rises from the landscape. Birds settle into trees. The world feels peaceful. Yet Cronus finds no peace within it. He arrives at an ancient grove, one of the oldest in the world. The trees tower overhead. Their roots twist through dark soil. Their branches form a canopy that blocks much of the sky. The air smells of leaves and moss. Silence surrounds him. Then he hears a voice, soft, distant, almost carried by the wind. At first, he believes it is imagination. The voice comes again, a whisper among the trees. Not threatening, not loud, merely persistent. The future remembers. Cronus turns. No one stands nearby. The grove remains empty. The leaves barely move. Yet the words seem real. The future remembers. He leaves the grove immediately. The experience unsettles him more than he wishes to admit. Was it truly a voice, an omen, a trick of memory? Ancient listeners would have debated such questions endlessly. Perhaps that was the intention. Mystery invites reflection. Certainty ends it. As night falls, another sign appears. You stand beside the king beneath a sky filled with stars. The heavens seem especially clear. Every constellation shines brightly. Then one star begins moving, not falling, moving, slowly across the sky, against the expected course of the heavens. The light travels for several minutes, then disappears beyond the horizon. Cronus watches every moment. The moving star reminds him of something. A path leaving its proper place. A child departing from an established order. A future refusing to remain fixed. The symbolism feels impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, far away, Phoebe experiences a dream. She sees a crown resting upon a stone altar. The crown appears magnificent, golden, radiant. Then a vine begins growing around it. Slowly, patiently. The vine eventually covers the crown completely, not destroying it, replacing it. Phoebe awakens troubled. She tells no one. Yet another omen joins the others. The collection grows larger. The pattern grows clearer. Only not clear enough. Never clear enough. That is the nature of fate in Greek myth. It reveals just enough to create fear, never enough to remove uncertainty. Near midnight, Cronus finally returns to his palace. Rhea greets him warmly. She senses his concern, as she has for many years. But he offers no explanation, no confession, no discussion of visions or whispers. He smiles, speaks kindly, and keeps his fears hidden. Yet fear hidden is not fear defeated. It continues growing in darkness, like roots beneath the earth. Invisible, persistent, dangerous. The Golden Age remains magnificent. The world still prospers. The Titans still celebrate. But something has changed. The prophecy no longer feels distant, no longer feels abstract. For the first time, Cronus truly believes it may one day come true. And that belief will alter everything that follows. The belief settles inside Cronus like a stone sinking into deep water. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but with quiet certainty. The prophecy is real. The future is moving toward him. And somewhere beyond the peaceful horizon of the Golden Age, a child waits. A child who may one day do exactly what Cronus once did. Challenge a father. Take a throne. Change the world. The thought follows him everywhere. Into daylight, into dreams, into moments of silence beside the sea. The Golden Age remains beautiful, yet beauty no longer comforts him as it once did. For fear changes perception. The same landscape can appear welcoming one day and threatening the next. The same future can appear hopeful or dangerous, depending upon the heart observing it. Ancient Greeks understood this deeply. Many of their greatest tragedies begin not with evil intentions. They begin with fear, a fear of loss, a fear of humiliation, a fear of destiny itself. Cronus now walks that path. You find him standing beside Rhea in a broad valley washed with sunlight. Wildflowers cover the hills. The scent of herbs drifts through warm air. Birds circle overhead. The world appears perfect. And in many ways, it is. For Rhea carries joyful news. She is with child. The first child of the king and queen. The first direct heir of the Titan throne. The moment should bring celebration. And at first, it does. The Titans gather. Sacred fires burn. Songs echo through valleys and mountain passes. Oceanus offers blessings. Hyperion fills the skies with radiant light. Mnemosyne preserves the occasion within memory. Themis speaks of continuity and renewal. Even Gaia smiles. For every generation depends upon the next. Creation itself advances through birth. The Greeks often viewed children as symbols of hope, the future given form, the continuation of family, the continuation of community, the continuation of life itself. Rhea embodies that hope now. Her happiness seems to brighten the world around her. She walks through gardens, listens to birdsong, watches sunlight shimmer across rivers. Everything feels alive with possibility. Yet beside her stands Cronus, and within him another feeling grows. Fear. The prophecy awakens fully, not as a distant concern, as an immediate reality. For the first time, the future has a face, or rather it soon will. A child. His child. The warning spoken by Uranus echoes louder than ever. A child will overthrow the father. The pattern will repeat. The wound will return. Cronus tries to resist these thoughts. At first, he tells himself the prophecy may never come true. He tells himself fate can be avoided. He tells himself he is different from Uranus. Stronger, wiser, more capable. Yet fear rarely responds to reason. Fear feeds upon possibilities. Every reassuring thought becomes another question. Every moment of calm becomes another opportunity for doubt. As the months pass, the king grows increasingly restless. Rhea notices. Themis notices. Even Mnemosyne notices. though none fully understand the depth of his concern. One evening shortly before the child is due to arrive, another dream comes. Cronus stands within a vast hall. The walls are made of stone older than mountains. Torches burn along endless corridors. At the center of the hall rests a throne, his throne. Upon it sits a child, not speaking, not smiling, simply waiting. Cronus approaches. The child looks up, and suddenly the face changes. Again and again, a different child each moment. A son, a daughter, another son, another daughter. 6 faces, then one final face hidden in shadow. Cronus wakes trembling. Outside, the stars shine peacefully above the sleeping world. Yet the dream remains. 6 faces. The number lingers. Though he does not understand why, ancient listeners would have recognized the symbolism immediately. The future often reveals itself through fragments, rarely through complete understanding. The dream offers a warning, nothing more, nothing less. Then the day arrives. The first child is born. The world seems unusually still. A soft breeze moves across the hills. The scent of flowers fills the air. Clouds drift lazily across a blue sky. Everything appears gentle, almost sacred. Rhea gives birth. The child is beautiful, perfect, healthy, a source of immense joy. Different traditions preserve different names for the order of the children, yet the oldest accounts often place Hestia first, the future goddess of hearth and home, the keeper of sacred fires, the quiet center around which families gather. For a brief moment, the golden age feels complete. The king has an heir. The queen has become a mother. The Titan line continues. Gaia rejoices. The Titans celebrate. The world welcomes new life. And then fear triumphs over love. The transformation happens within Cronus, not outside him. That is what makes the moment so tragic. No enemy attacks. No battle occurs. No divine force compels his hand. The choice belongs entirely to him. He looks upon the child, and instead of seeing hope, he sees prophecy. Instead of seeing a daughter, he sees a threat. Instead of seeing the future, he sees his own downfall. Ancient Greeks return to this theme repeatedly. Fear distorts vision. It teaches people to mistake loved ones for enemies. The lesson remains timeless. Cronus steps forward. The celebration falls silent. Confusion spreads among those gathered. Rhea senses something wrong immediately. You can almost feel her heart tightening with dread. The king reaches for the child. For a moment, perhaps part of him hesitates. A final opportunity. A final chance. But fear has already won. He opens his mouth and swallows the child whole. The silence that follows feels enormous. The wind stops. The birds vanish. Even the world itself seems unable to comprehend what has happened. Rhea stands frozen. The Titans stare in disbelief. Gaia feels grief surge through the earth. The child is not killed. Immortal beings do not perish so easily. Yet she is gone. Hidden inside Cronus. Removed from the world. Imprisoned. Just as the Cyclops and hundred-handed ones were once imprisoned. The pattern repeats. Different form. Same fear. Same mistake. The Greeks understood the tragedy immediately. Cronus has become what he once opposed. The son who challenged tyranny now imitates it. The ruler who overthrew fear now serves it. This is one of mythology's most painful truths. Unhealed wounds often recreate themselves. The celebration ends. The golden age continues on the surface. Fields remain fertile. Rivers remain clear. The Titans continue their duties. Yet nothing feels the same. A shadow now stretches across the age. A shadow created not by destiny, by choice. That night, Rhea dreams of the 6 saplings once more. The shadow returns. The first sapling disappears. 5 remain. She awakens weeping. And for the first time, she begins to fear her husband. Far away, Themis watches the stars. Phoebe studies the moon. Mnemosyne remembers every detail. And beneath the earth, Gaia feels the old wound opening again. The prophecy has not been prevented. It has merely changed shape. And fate, patient as ever, continues moving toward its appointed hour. Morning arrives gently. The sun rises over fields still covered in dew. Golden light spreads across valleys and distant hills. Birdsong returns to the forests. The rivers continue their endless journey toward the sea. To any observer passing through the world, the golden age appears unchanged. The earth remains generous. The heavens remain orderly. The Titans continue their duties. Yet beneath that beautiful surface, something has broken. A sorrow now lives at the heart of the cosmos. And that sorrow belongs to Rhea. You find her walking alone through a grove of ancient cypress trees. The air is cool beneath the branches. The scent of pine and earth lingers around her. Sunlight filters through the leaves in scattered patterns. Everything seems peaceful. But peace and happiness are not the same. The child she carried is gone. Not dead. Not truly, yet absent. Hidden within Cronus. Taken from her arms before she could know her. Taken before lullabies. Before stories. Before the countless small moments that create a bond between mother and child. The Greeks understood that grief often comes not only from death. It can come from separation, from loss, from what should have been. Rhea carries that grief now. And unlike many wounds, it does not fade. It grows. The days pass. Cronus attempts to return to normal. He governs. He listens to petitions. He joins the gatherings of the Titans. He speaks calmly, confidently, as though nothing has happened. But the court feels different. Oceanus grows quieter. Hyperion avoids discussing the matter. Themis watches with increasing concern. Mnemosyne remembers every detail. No one openly challenges the king. Yet no one truly approves of what he has done. The silence itself becomes meaningful. Ancient Greeks often recognized that silence could communicate judgment more powerfully than words. And around Cronus, silence begins to gather. Rhea notices it. Yet she notices something else as well. Cronus appears relieved. The prophecy seems less threatening to him now. The child is contained. The future is imprisoned. At least that is what he believes. The same belief once comforted Uranus. The same belief that led him to bury the Cyclopes and hundred-handed ones within Gaia. The pattern repeats. Again and again. The Greeks rarely portrayed fate as something defeated through force. Attempts to resist destiny often became the very actions that fulfilled it. The lesson waits quietly beneath the surface of this story. Soon it will become impossible to ignore. For now another child is conceived. The world remains fertile. Life continues. The seasons turn, and Rhea once more carries new life within her. This time the anticipation feels different. The joy is muted, the hope more fragile. She remembers what happened before. She knows what may happen again. Yet part of her refuses to surrender. Perhaps she tells herself the first child satisfied the king's fears. Perhaps he will see reason. Perhaps love will triumph. These thoughts comfort her during long evenings beneath the stars. But deep inside, uncertainty remains. One night she dreams. She stands beside a river flowing through a moonlit valley. The water shines silver beneath Selene's light. Along the riverbank grow 6 flowering trees, the same number she has seen before, the same mysterious symbol returning once again. A cold wind moves through the valley. The first tree disappears, then the second. The dream ends. Rhea awakens before dawn. Her heart feels heavy. The meaning seems clearer now, yet clarity offers little comfort. Months pass. The second child is born. Different traditions identify this child as Demeter, future goddess of grain, harvest, the fertility of the earth. The child arrives healthy and strong. The world once again celebrates. The Titans gather. Blessings are offered. Sacred fires burn through the evening. And once again fear wins. Cronus swallows the child. The act unfolds almost exactly as before. No hesitation, no change, no mercy. The silence afterward feels even deeper. Rhea's grief expands. A second wound joins the first. Another future removed from the world. Another possibility locked away. The Greeks often understood suffering as cumulative. One loss hurts. Repeated losses transform a person. Rhea begins changing. Not outwardly. She remains gentle, kind, compassionate. Yet a new strength is forming beneath those qualities, a quiet determination, the kind born from repeated injustice. Ancient myths often portray maternal love as one of the most powerful forces in existence, not because it seeks domination, because it refuses surrender. That force is awakening within her. The years continue. A third child arrives. Hera, future queen of the Olympians, goddess of marriage and sovereignty. Again, the world rejoices. Again, Cronus swallows the child. The pattern grows unbearable. The Titans can no longer pretend ignorance. Everyone sees what is happening. Everyone understands why. Yet fear still protects the king from direct opposition. The prophecy has become his prison, and now it threatens to imprison everyone around him as well. Gaia watches from afar. The Earth Mother remembers another king consumed by fear, another ruler convinced that the future could be controlled through confinement. She recognizes the pattern more clearly than anyone. The Earth itself seems to mourn. Storms appear more often over distant seas. Strange winds move through valleys without warning. Trees shed leaves at unusual times. Whether these are true omens or later interpretations remains uncertain. Historians continue debating how ancient audiences understood such signs. Yet, within the myth, nature often reflects deeper realities, and nature now feels troubled. The fourth child arrives, Hades, future lord of the underworld, keeper of the dead. Again, the same tragedy unfolds. The fifth child follows, Poseidon, future ruler of the seas, master of storms and oceans. Again, Cronus swallows the child. 5 children, 5 imprisonments, 5 wounds. The dream of the 6 saplings continues haunting Rhea. Now, only one remains. Each time she sleeps, she sees it. The lone tree standing beneath gathering shadows. Small, hidden, waiting. The image no longer feels symbolic. It feels inevitable. One evening after Poseidon disappears into Cronus, Rhea wanders far from the Titan court. You follow her through mountain paths covered in mist. The air grows colder. The scent of wet stone fills the wind. Clouds drift between the peaks. The world feels distant, lonely. She reaches a high ridge overlooking valleys lost beneath twilight. There, she finally allows herself to weep. Not quietly, not politely. The grief pours from her like a river breaking through a dam. The mountains hear it. The wind carries it. The earth remembers it. And somewhere beneath those mountains, Gaia hears as well. The Earth Mother listens. The ancient mother of gods understands the pain of seeing children imprisoned. She has lived it herself. And as darkness settles over the world, another idea begins forming. A dangerous idea, a hopeful idea, a plan. For there is still one child left, one sapling standing, one chance remaining. And far away, hidden among stars and silence, fate begins moving more quickly toward its long-awaited moment. Rhea's cry fades among the mountains. The echoes travel through valleys wrapped in mist. They pass over cold stone ridges. They sink into caverns where old grief still sleeps. And Gaia hears. The Earth Mother does not answer at once. She listens first, as mothers often do. She listens to the sorrow behind the sorrow. She hears not only the loss of 5 children, but the fear of losing the 6th. She hears the old pattern returning. A father frightened by his own descendants. A ruler trying to imprison the future. A family wounded by prophecy. The story that began with Uranus has come back in another form. Only now the grief belongs to Rhea. You stand with her on the high ridge as night deepens. The wind grows colder. Clouds move slowly across Selene's pale face. Far below, the world of the Golden Age lies quiet and beautiful. Too beautiful, perhaps. For beauty can sometimes hide suffering from those who do not wish to see it. Rhea presses one hand against the stone. The rock is cold beneath her fingers. Then the ground warms, only slightly. A presence rises through it. Gaia, not appearing as a distant queen, not descending in glory. She comes through the earth itself, through stone, through soil, through mountain roots. Rhea feels her before she sees her. The mother of all things gathers around her like deep shelter. Ancient Greeks often imagined sacred places as points of contact with divine reality. Caves, springs, groves, mountain peaks. The land itself could become a voice. Here the mountain becomes Gaia's voice. And that voice speaks gently. Enough. The word moves through the stone. Rhea trembles. Not from fear, from recognition. Gaia understands. She knows what it means to carry children and lose them to fear. She knows what it means when a father calls imprisonment protection. She knows that sorrow left unanswered becomes another form of injustice. Together, Gaia and Rhea begin to speak, not loudly. The night around them remains calm, but the decision forming between them is enormous. A final child is coming. Rhea already senses it. The dream of the 6 saplings has never lied. 5 have vanished. 1 remains. Cronus will swallow this child too, unless something changes. And so, something must change. The Greeks often honored cleverness as much as strength. Myth is filled with warriors, but also with deceivers, planners, and survivors. Sometimes wisdom does not look like open battle. Sometimes it looks like concealment, a hidden child, a wrapped stone, a mother willing to trick a king. Gaia tells Rhea there is a place far from Cronus's watchful court, an island wrapped in old magic and mountain secrecy. Crete. Their caves open into the earth like dark mouths. Their wild goats move across rocky slopes. Their bees hum among fragrant herbs. There, the cries of a newborn might be hidden beneath sacred noise. Ancient traditions disagreed over the exact cave. Some later worshippers pointed to Mount Ida. Others spoke of Mount Dicte. Historians continued to debate how local Cretan traditions merged with broader Greek myth. But every version preserves the same essential truth. The child must be hidden in the earth, far from the father's fear. The plan begins simply. Rhea will leave the Titan court before the birth. She will claim a desire for solitude, perhaps a journey to sacred places, perhaps a time of rest among mountain shrines. Cronus, confident after swallowing 5 children, may not suspect the deception. Fear can make a ruler cruel. It can also make him blind. He believes the pattern belongs to him. Child is born. Child is swallowed. Prophecy is delayed. He does not yet understand that patterns can be broken. Rhea listens. Hope stirs within her, small at first, fragile, almost painful. After so many losses, hope feels dangerous. Yet it also feels necessary. Without hope, she cannot act. Without action, the final child will vanish. Then Gaia reveals the second part of the plan. When the child is born, Rhea must return to Cronus with something wrapped in swaddling cloth. Not the child, a stone. A simple stone taken from the earth, heavy enough, shaped carefully enough, concealed well enough. Cronus will swallow it in haste, trusting fear more than sight. The idea is daring, almost impossible, yet Greek myth often turns upon such moments. A small object changes the course of divine history. A stone becomes an heir. A deception becomes salvation. A mother's grief becomes strategy. As Gaia speaks, another omen appears. The clouds above the mountains part. Selene shines down upon the ridge. Her silver light falls directly upon a single stone near Rhea's feet. The stone is smooth, rounded, ordinary. Yet beneath the moonlight, it gleams with strange brightness. Rhea kneels and touches it. The surface feels cold, then warm, then almost alive. No voice announces its meaning. No prophecy explains the sign. But both Gaia and Rhea understand. The earth has offered an answer. This stone, or one like it, will become part of the deception. The mystery remains delicate. Was the moon choosing the stone? Was Gaia guiding Rhea's hand? Or did later storytellers shape the omen to deepen the sacred drama? No one can know with certainty, but the image endures. A mother kneeling beneath moonlight, a stone glowing softly before her, a future hidden inside an ordinary object. Rhea lifts the stone and holds it close. For the first time in many ages, she does not feel powerless. She still grieves. Nothing can erase 5 losses. But grief has changed shape. It has become resolve. Gaia's presence surrounds her. The mountain wind grows gentle. Far below, the sleeping world remains unaware that its destiny has shifted. Cronus still believes himself secure. He still believes the prophecy can be contained. He still believes the future can be swallowed. But the earth has begun to answer him. And earth is patient. Earth is ancient. Earth remembers. Together, Gaia and Rhea prepare for the journey to Crete. A journey through night, across sea winds, into hidden caves and sacred darkness. There the last child will be born. There the final sapling will be sheltered from shadow. There destiny will take its first breath. Rhea leaves before dawn. The Titan court still sleeps beneath a sky washed in fading stars. No songs follow her. No torches mark her path. No herald announces the queen's departure. She moves quietly through the dim world, carrying both sorrow and hope inside her. The air is cold. Dew clings to the grass. Far away, the sea breathes against unseen shores. Gaia's guidance remains with her, not as a voice now, more like a warmth beneath every step. Rhea travels across valleys where flowers have not yet opened. She passes rivers silver beneath morning mist. She moves through groves where birds stir softly among branches. Everywhere the golden age remains beautiful. And yet she knows beauty alone cannot save the final child. Action must do what peace could not. At last, she reaches the sea. The horizon glows pale with the first light of Eos. Waves roll gently against dark stones. Salt wind touches her face. Before her lies the crossing to Crete, an island wrapped in mystery even for the gods. Ancient Greeks imagined islands as places between worlds, surrounded by water, separated from ordinary paths. Close to danger, close to revelation. Crete especially carried memories older than many mainland traditions. Caves, mountains, sacred animals, and ancient rites lingered there in the imagination. Some researchers believe the myth of Zeus's hidden birth preserved echoes of very old Cretan worship. Others suggest later Greeks folded local sacred places into the larger story. The truth remains uncertain, but uncertainty suits Crete. The island rises from the sea like a secret. Rhea crosses beneath changing skies. By midday, Crete appears ahead. Rocky mountains climb from bright water. Clouds gather around their peaks. The scent of thyme and wild herbs drifts upon the wind. Goats move along steep slopes. Bees hum among flowers. The island feels alive with hidden guardians. Rhea reaches the shore quietly. No palace receives her. No court surrounds her. Only stone sea wind and earth. She climbs inland. The path grows steep. Loose rocks shift beneath her feet. The air becomes cooler. Mountain mist curls around cypress trees. Somewhere above an eagle circles. Its cry cuts through the silence. Was it an omen? A guardian sign? A hint of the child's future dominion? Ancient traditions would later connect Zeus with the eagle, yet here the meaning remains unspoken. The bird vanishes into cloud. Rhea continues upward. At last, she reaches the cave. Dark, hidden, sacred. Its entrance opens beneath overhanging rock, partly veiled by hanging plants and shadow. Inside, the air feels cool and damp. Water drips from the stone ceiling. The scent of earth fills every breath. This is not a place of royal splendor. It is deeper than splendor, older than kingship, a womb within the Mother Earth. Here Rhea will bring forth the child who will change the cosmos. Night falls. Selene rises above Crete, casting silver light across the mountains. Inside the cave, sacred darkness gathers. Rhea labors alone, though not truly alone. Gaia surrounds her. Nymphs of the mountain draw near in silence. The bees seem to hum more softly. The goats settle among rocks outside. Even the winds appear to hold themselves back. Then the child is born, Zeus. His first cry trembles in the cave, small, human almost, yet filled with something no cave can contain. The sound rises toward the stone roof. For a terrible moment, Rhea fears it will travel across sea and sky to Cronus. Then the mountain answers. A sudden clash echoes outside. Armed attendants, later remembered as curetes or curetes, beat shields and weapons together. The sound rings through the night. Bronze against bronze, rhythm against fear, noise against prophecy. The infant's cry disappears beneath the sacred tumult. Ancient traditions preserve many versions of this protection. Some speak of dancing guardians, some of nymphs, some of animals who nourished the child. Surviving evidence from Cretan caves suggests that later worshippers associated these places with powerful divine memory. But the oldest truth remains simple. The newborn must be hidden. Rhea holds Zeus close. His skin is warm against her. His breath is soft. His presence feels impossible. After 5 losses, this one remains. The final sapling lives. Joy rises in her so sharply, it almost hurts. Yet joy cannot remain long. Cronus waits. The deception must continue. Rhea entrusts Zeus to the hidden care of Crete. Some traditions say the goat Amalthea nourished him. Others speak of nymphs feeding him honey and milk. Another interpretation suggests that these details reflect ancient pastoral rites. Whatever the origin, the image is tender. A divine child sheltered by the wild world, fed by sweetness, guarded by noise, hidden beneath stone. Before Rhea leaves, she dreams while half awake. She sees a great storm gathering above a mountain. Lightning moves inside the clouds, but no thunder sounds. Then the clouds open, not with destruction, with light. The light falls upon the child and forms a crown no hand has made. Rhea wakes with tears upon her face. The dream offers no certainty, only promise, and promise is enough. At dawn, she prepares the stone. Wrapped carefully in swaddling cloth, it becomes the shape of a newborn. The ordinary object now carries extraordinary destiny. Rhea looks once more toward the cave. She cannot stay. A mother's love must now become discipline. To save Zeus, she must leave him. The pain of that choice is immense. The Greeks understood sacrifice not only as offerings upon altars. Sometimes sacrifice meant surrendering closeness for survival. Rhea descends from the mountain with the wrapped stone in her arms. The sea wind greets her. Crete recedes behind mist and light. Within the hidden cave, Zeus sleeps. Above him, bees hum. Goats stir. Bronze shields wait to clash again. And far away, Cronus believes the future is still approaching him helplessly. He does not know the future has already been born. Rhea returns across the sea with the stone held close. From a distance, she appears to be any grieving mother carrying what must be surrendered. The cloth is wrapped carefully. The weight rests heavily in her arms. The shape is convincing enough to deceive a frightened king. Yet beneath the fabric, there is no breath, no warmth, no tiny movement, only stone. The sea wind moves around her as she crosses from Crete back toward the Titan court. Waves rise and fall beneath a pale morning sky. Salt gathers on her lips. Mist touches her hair. Behind her, hidden among mountains and caves, Zeus sleeps in sacred darkness. Ahead of her waits Cronus, the father, the king, the devourer of his children. Rhea feels the distance between those two worlds. One world is secret, small, alive. The other is grand, shining, and full of fear. She must now walk from one into the other, without letting her face betray the truth. Ancient Greeks understood the power of concealment. Not every righteous act could be performed in the open. Sometimes truth needed a hiding place. Sometimes justice entered the world disguised as obedience. Rhea now carries such a disguise. When she arrives, the Titan court gathers quietly. The atmosphere feels tense. No joyful songs rise this time. No celebration fills the valleys. The birth of a child should bring blessings. Yet everyone remembers what happened before. 5 children gone. 5 futures swallowed. 5 wounds hidden inside the body of the king. Themis stands apart, silent and grave. Mnemosyne watches with sorrowful attention. Oceanus lowers his gaze. Hyperion's light seems softer than usual. Even the air appears hesitant. Cronus approaches. His expression is controlled, almost gentle. That gentleness makes the moment colder. He believes he is protecting the world. He believes he is preserving order. He believes cruelty has become necessity. This is one of the most dangerous transformations in myth. When fear teaches power to call itself wisdom. Rhea kneels before him. She offers the wrapped stone. Her hands do not shake, at least not visibly. Inside her, grief and hope move together. She remembers Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon. She remembers the dream of 6 saplings. 5 vanished beneath shadow, 1 hidden behind stone. Now the stone itself has become the hiding place. Cronus takes the bundle. For a brief moment he pauses. Perhaps something in the weight feels strange. Perhaps fate allows him one last chance to look closely. Perhaps no such chance exists, and later storytellers only imagine the hesitation because the moment demanded it. Ancient traditions do not always agree. Some versions pass quickly over the deception. Others linger on its sacred cleverness. But the meaning remains clear. Cronus is too afraid to see. Fear narrows the eye. Fear rushes the hand. Fear makes a king trust his terror more than his senses. He opens his mouth and swallows the stone whole. The world does not cry out. The mountains do not split. The sea does not rise. For once, the great turning of fate occurs in near silence. Cronus believes he has won. He believes the prophecy has been defeated again. He believes the 6th child is trapped inside him with the others. Rhea lowers her face, not in submission, to hide the truth burning in her eyes. The child lives. The final sapling stands. The deception has worked. Around the court, the Titans remain uncertain. They see only what Cronus sees. Another child taken. Another grief endured. Another silence laid over the golden age. Only Gaia knows. Only Rhea knows. And perhaps Mnemosyne suspects. Memory watches patterns. Memory notices what fear misses. A strange omen follows. That night after Cronus retires, a low sound moves through the earth. Not the painful heartbeat heard before Uranus's cruelty. Something different, softer, like distant laughter hidden under stone. The sound passes beneath valleys, mountains, and sleeping groves. It reaches the shore. It travels across water. Then it fades toward Crete. No one explains it. No prophet interprets it. But Rhea hears, and in her sorrow she feels a small warmth. The earth remembers its secret. Far away inside the cave on Crete, Zeus stirs in sleep. A bee lands near his hand. A goat shifts outside among the rocks. The curetes keep watch with bronze shields ready. The infant knows nothing of thrones, nothing of prophecy, nothing of the fear that has shaped his birth. Yet destiny surrounds him already, not loudly, not as command, as protection, as concealment, as a promise made by earth and mother together. Meanwhile, Cronus sits upon his throne beneath the wide heavens. He feels calm for the first time in many years. The prophecy seems contained. The future seems swallowed. The order of his rule appears secure. But hidden within that confidence lies the deepest irony of the myth. By trying to avoid the prophecy, he has created the conditions for its fulfillment. The child he fears is alive because of his own blindness. The stone rests inside him. A false child, a silent witness, a symbol of deception swallowed by fear. Ancient Greeks loved such reversals. They reveal how destiny works through human and divine choices. Fate does not always need to force events. It simply waits for character to reveal itself. Cronus has revealed himself. Rhea has revealed herself too. He chooses fear. She chooses hope. He chooses control. She chooses concealment. He swallows stone. She saves life. And across the dark sea beneath the mountains of Crete, the next age breathes quietly in its sleep. The golden age continues above. Fields still shine. Rivers still flow. The Titan court still stands. Yet the world has changed more deeply than anyone can see. A secret now lives beneath the surface of creation. A child hidden from his father. A prophecy hidden inside silence. A future hidden inside a cave. And slowly, gently, fate begins to turn toward Zeus. The years begin to pass. Not quickly, not visibly, but inevitably. The golden age continues its slow, dreamlike rhythm across the world. Fields still yield abundance without struggle. Rivers still flow with clear, generous water. Forests still stand untouched by axe or fire. The Titans still believe the cosmos remains stable beneath Cronus's rule. Yet stability is not the same as permanence. And beneath the surface of peace, something has begun to grow. You travel now far from the Titan court, far from the halls where Cronus sits upon his throne, far from the celebrations that once marked the arrival of divine children. Instead, you arrive at a hidden mountain on the island of Crete. The air here feels different, older, thicker with memory. Caves open across the mountainside like dark eyes watching the sea. Goats move carefully along rocky paths. Wild herbs grow between cracks in stone. Bees hum through warm sunlight. Everything feels alive in a quiet, hidden way. And deep within one of these caves, the future is breathing. Zeus grows in secret. He does not know the world above him. He does not know the fear that shaped his birth. He does not know the throne of Cronus. He does not know the swallowing of his siblings. To him, the world is simpler, warmer, closer. The cave is his universe. Stone walls become his horizon. The sound of dripping water becomes his time. The voices of nymphs and attendants become his language of care. Ancient traditions differ in detail, but they agree on one essential truth. Zeus is not raised alone. He is protected, hidden, nurtured by forces older than kingship. Some stories speak of the goat Amalthea offering milk and warmth. Others describe nymphs feeding him honey from wild bees. Others still suggest sacred forces of the earth itself sustaining him. Historians continue to debate how much of this reflects older Cretan religious traditions. What remains consistent is the sense of sanctuary, a divine child sheltered from divine fear. Outside the cave, the world continues unaware. Selene passes above the mountains each night. Helios rises each morning beyond the sea. The seasons move in steady rhythm. And yet inside the cave, something extraordinary unfolds. Zeus grows, not in isolation, but in connection. Every sound he hears carries meaning. Every presence around him becomes part of his understanding of existence. The rustle of goat hooves, the soft movement of attendants, the hum of bees outside stone entrances. These become his first lessons in life. Not kingship, not power, but awareness. The Greeks often believed that early experiences shaped divine nature. A god raised in secrecy would understand concealment. A god raised in struggle would understand resistance. A god raised in abundance would understand generosity. Zeus is shaped by hidden protection. Meanwhile, above him, Cronus remains unaware. He continues his rule across the Golden Age. The Titans obey. The world prospers. And the prophecy feels distant once more. Yet, memory does not fade so easily. Rhea carries it constantly. Each passing year adds weight to her silence. She visits Crete when she can. Never openly. Never in a way that might draw attention. She watches her son from afar. She sees him growing stronger, more alert, more alive. And something in her sorrow begins to soften. Hope returns in small, fragile ways. One afternoon, she stands upon a cliff overlooking the sea near Crete. The wind moves through her hair. The waves crash far below against dark stone. She closes her eyes, and for a moment, she hears something like laughter carried on the wind. Not cruel, not mocking, but young, alive, playful. It fades quickly, but it remains within her memory. Elsewhere, strange signs begin to appear. Goats behave unusually calm around the cave. Eagles circle overhead but do not descend. Lightning flickers far out over the sea during clear nights, though no storm follows. Ancient listeners would have recognized these as signs of divine presence, not fully understood, not fully explained, only felt. Themis notices such changes in the balance of the world. Phoebe studies them with quiet intensity. Mnemosyne preserves them carefully. Each omen becomes another thread in the growing pattern of fate. One night, as Zeus sleeps, a deep rumble moves through the mountain. Not earthquake, not storm, something more rhythmic, like footsteps echoing far beneath the earth. The attendants freeze. The goats grow still. Even the bees outside seem to pause. The sound passes slowly beneath the cave, then fades. No explanation follows. Zeus stirs in sleep. For a brief moment, his eyes open, bright, alert, curious. Then he sleeps again. The sound becomes part of him, not remembered consciously, but absorbed. Inside Cronus, the swallowed stone remains unchanged. A silent weight, a false future carried within divine flesh. It does not speak. It does not move. It only exists. A symbol of deception, a mirror of fear. And yet unknowingly, it holds the truth of what has been hidden. Far above Crete, Cronus sometimes looks toward the horizon. He feels something he cannot name. A faint unease, a subtle disturbance in the order of things. He dismisses it. The prophecy he believes has been resolved. But prophecies rarely end when ignored. They wait. They gather strength. They move through hidden channels of time. And beneath the mountain, Zeus grows closer to the moment when silence will no longer be enough. The world is not ready, but it is already changing. Slowly, deeply, irrevocably. The Golden Age still shines across the world. But now, as you stand within its final stretch, you begin to notice something subtle beneath its beauty. A softness at the edges, a quiet hesitation in the air, as though the world itself is preparing to change, even if no one yet understands how. Fields still bloom without effort. Rivers still move with calm certainty. The Titans still govern their vast and ancient domains. And Cronus still sits upon his throne, believing the prophecy has been contained within his own body. Swallowed, silenced, ended. Yet beneath the surface of that belief, time continues to work. Slowly, patiently, unstoppably. You travel across the world one final time. Oceanus still circles the outer edges of creation, his waters endless and calm. Helios still rises each morning, carrying light across sky and sea. Selene still walks the night, her silver glow washing over sleeping lands. Themis still watches the hidden laws of balance. Mnemosyne still preserves every memory, and Rhea still carries both grief and quiet hope in equal measure. But something has changed in all of them, not in action, in awareness, as though the world now knows it is no longer at its beginning. You return once more to the hidden mountain of Crete. The cave is quiet, warm with life, deep with shadow. Inside, Zeus sleeps no longer as an infant alone, but as something more. He is growing into awareness, into strength, into presence. The world outside the cave has never seen him, but the world inside him is already expanding. Ancient traditions differ in how they describe this moment. Some say he grows rapidly nourished by divine milk and honey. Some say he is trained by unseen forces of nature itself. Some suggest the earth and sky both conspire to prepare him. Historians continue to debate these variations, but all accounts agree on one essential truth. He is not forgotten. He is not powerless. He is not alone. Far above, Cronus feels the same faint unease that has followed him for years. But now it is different, stronger, less dismissible. He walks alone at times, looking at the sky as if expecting something that has not yet arrived. Yet nothing arrives. The Golden Age continues to appear unchanged. And so he tells himself the same story again. The prophecy is complete. The danger is contained. The future has been stopped. But fate does not end because it is denied. It continues beneath denial. It grows beneath certainty. It waits beneath silence. On Crete, Zeus stands now at the threshold of something new. Not childhood, not innocence, something else. Awareness of what lies beyond the cave. The sound of distant thunder reaches him one evening. No storm appears in the sky. No clouds gather above the island. Yet the sound rolls through the mountains like a memory of power. The attendants outside the cave feel it first. Then the goats become restless. Then even the wind seems to pause. Zeus looks upward, and for the first time, something inside him responds not with comfort, but with recognition, as if the world is calling him, not to safety, but to becoming. Above the sea, the Titans remain unaware that the final turning has already begun. Oceanus continues his endless circuit. Themis continues her silent vigilance. Mnemosyne continues her memory. Rhea continues her quiet visits to Crete, carrying love that cannot be spoken aloud. And Cronus continues to believe in his victory over fate. But beneath all of them, something has shifted. The first age is no longer stable. It is only lingering, like light just before sunset. Beautiful, familiar, but no longer leading anywhere. Deep inside the cave, Zeus opens his eyes again. This time he does not sleep immediately. He listens. To the mountain, to the wind, to the distant rhythm of the world above him. And somewhere in that listening destiny recognizes itself. The story has not ended. It has only reached its pause. And beyond that pause, something vast is waiting. Something that will not remain hidden forever. The Age of Titans still stands, but it no longer stands alone. And as silence settles across the world one last time, you feel it clearly. The Golden Age is not collapsing. It is transforming, slowly, invisibly, into something entirely new.